المطروحات المواضيع تكتب كذا على المواضيع هذه للتقييم قبل التدريب، وفي تقييم ثاني نفسه بيكون بعد التدريب.
المحاور.
المحاور حتى فيها يكتبون هناك على اساس تكون محاور موحده، وخلال ذلك يسمونه بيكون التقييم قبل التدريب وبعد التدريب. فالمعذره على هذا الموضوع. الموضوع الثاني اللي هو قضيه بيكون يوم الاربعاء مساء ان شاء الله 10 جماعي. بيكون ما اعطيكم عنوان المكان ان شاء الله.
عشان نعرف
ان شاء الله. لا
يعني
ما تصدر
جماعي ولا 10 جماعي
زين. بس مسكين ياسر زوجتي معاه كذا عبس. بدك عبد الله تركب زوجتي بعد معاه. زين. زين بالنسبه بالنسبه للعاملين المختبر الجنائي قسم الاسلحه والالات، بيكون اليوم اجتماع لمده ساعه وكذا بعد اليوم المساء ان شاء الله. نخبركم وين بيكون نسمع بعض ان شاء الله. خير ان شاء الله، سواء الاخ من الامارات او من دول الخليج. بيكون اجتماع تنسيقي ان شاء الله. زين مباشر سمونا
Okay. So first of all, we wanted to tell you that we went to the souk yesterday, to where all the lock shops are.
البارحة ساروا إلى يسمونه السوق وين محلات الكفول.
And we bought 5 of the local locks.
شروا 5 بالسوق المحلي.
And these are all very expensive locks, like $5 or less a piece. This is what everybody here thinks is security. We've made a bump key sitting in one of the key shops.
سوينا كل واحد هذا القفل يعني تأمين عالي، ولكن احنا سوينا مفتاح اللي هو بامب كي او مفتاح الصدام من محل الورش في المحل نفسه.
So we took one of the regular keys to the locks and we cut it down with a file in 3 minutes and made a bump key.
خذنا المفتاح وبالمسحل سويناه 3 دقائق حولناه إلى بامب كي.
So anybody anywhere can do this, and then we started opening locks.
أي واحد يسوي هالطريقة يمكن يفتح القفل.
Well, it's not only that. The key that we made at the lock shop, we went to another lock shop and asked for 5 copies, and the guy made us 5 copies. We paid him, and we
could care less.
Okay. وأصل الأمر هذا كله يقول إحنا أخذنا المفتاح عملناه، قلنا عملنا كوبي سنة محل ثاني عملنا كوبي من هذا، سوينا كم نسخة وعطانا إياه وقال توكلوا.
Totally oblivious. They don't care.
And asking one question yesterday, bump keys, you can buy bump keys through the email. Yeah. And they ship it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're cheap.
And here's the other thing you ought.
حتى البامب كي يعني ممكن تشتري عالميا يشحنوا لك اياه مفتاح عادي.
The other thing, just to sum up, this is just like in America. All of these locks are the same keyway.
وهذا مثل اللي موجود عندنا في أمريكا. معظم المفاتيح بيكون تصميمها هذا العادية الخاص. المجرى تصميم المجرى نفس الشيء.
They're all the American Yale keyway.
وكل نظام المجرى نظام يل.
So what that means, and it's the same thing in our country, what that means is if you go buy one of these cheap locks that everybody's using, then you got a bump key that'll open up everybody's house.
يعني لو أنت كل واحد عنده هذا القفل في بيته، يعني أي واحد عنده بيكون عنده بامب كي يقدر يدخل أي بيت أي مكان عادي.
Yeah. So it is a problem, and it will come to your neighborhood.
هي مشكلة وحتمر عليكم.
Okay? So, next to this morning, we're going to start opening locks.
الصبح اليوم نفتح القفول نفككها.
So, we're going to show you the fundamentals of picking because everybody's been wanting to know how we do this. And then we're going to show you some disassembled locks with the microscope for some marks.
Picking.
Picking, we're going to be picking and buzzing.
اوكي طبعا بياخذ الاقفال اللي حيسوي عليها نظام قفاشه وبالطرف الثاني يفتحون القفال على اساس يشوفون بالميكروسكوب شو الاثار الموجوده فيه. طبعا احنا جبنا نشتري ميكروسكوب بنوصله يسمونه بالبروجيكتور يمكن اللي حد بيشوفه بالميكروسكوب او حد بنشوفه بالكامل هنا على بروجيكتور.
Okay, so but first we want to show you, we want you guys, we brought tools from the United States for you.
احنا جبنا ادوات من امريكا اساس يسمونه الاتحاد الامريكيه على اساس يستخدمونها.
And so we'll send you back with some, whoever wants to take back lock picks for you people to show your guys at home, we'll send you back with a tension wrench, lock pick, rake pick.
اللي حابب يسمونه ياخذ حق ادارته او قسمه ادوات البيك ننطرش له الاتنشن هاي يسمونه تنشن بيك وهذا اداه واداه ثانيه.
Okay? Everybody in agreement?
متفقين؟
Okay. Everybody, how many of you guys are awake?
كم واحد صاحي؟ يقول لك.
That one back there, I got 1, 2. Okay.
Oh, he just said, what are you talking about?
Yeah, please don't make any noise, we're sleeping.
يقول انا راقد يقول خلي يحط اعلان يقول لا حد يجي خليه راقد.
Okay. We're gonna do that after the break, so everybody just have a breakfast, be clear, and then we start with picking, disassembling. So after the break, everything is gonna be hands-on on tools and locks. Now we're gonna talk also. We haven't covered is different techniques that can compromise locks, and I'm gonna let's work more or less with the sample. Usually you guys, well, the majority of the persons think that if you want to make a copy, you need the key to make that copy. Right?
إذا معظم الأشخاص يفترض أن إذا بيسوي نسخة من المفتاح لازم يكون موجود المفتاح الأصلي أساس ينسخ عليه.
Okay. So most of the time, if you go to a burglary, they open the lock with the key. They say, yeah, well, who has keys and how they make a copy for the key? Okay.
إذا صار أي قضية سرقة والأبواب سليمة طبعا أول شيء تقول وين مفتاحك؟ والمفتاح عنده يقول من سوى نسخة للمفتاح؟
The lock could have been opened by a key, but doesn't mean that the person had access to that key to make a copy.
يعني الشخص اللي فتح الباب ما يفترض إنه مثلا عنده قدر يوصل للمفتاح يسوي منه نسخة.
Okay, so we're gonna cover that really fast
بنغطي هذا الموضوع بشكل سريع.
today. This is
Wait, no, don't tell me.
okay.
Don't tell me. What kind of lock is this?
شو نوع القفل هذا؟
Normal lock?
A normal lock. That was a good answer. Is that like a company, the normal company?
هذا شو نوع القفل هذا؟ ها؟
Huh? No, it's, okay. What's the name, when we covered the different kinds of locks?
Yes, sir.
Wafer. Okay. Why is this relevant?
ويفر نظام ديسكات يعني.
Okay. How secure is this lock?
كيف؟ ماذا هو يسمونه
Well, this isn't, it's not disc, it's wafer.
ويفر
In Arabic
Okay.
we call the desk and في desk thumb right اللي هو
Okay.
Okay.
The reason, okay. Okay,
keys.
but technically, it's a wafer. A disc revolves.
اوكي.
Wafers go up and down.
ويفر اللي هو يسموه بالانجليزي الريشه. زين عموما
Very difficult to examine this kind of locks.
When you say difficult to examine,
Hmm?
what do you mean by difficult to examine?
The traces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, traces.
Unless you force it.
To examine the traces. يعني
The reason is it's a very sloppy lock. They're not high tolerance locks.
sloppy يعني
Sloppy, poor tolerance.
Yes, it's a poor quality.
Not tight fit.
yeah.
Okay, so who thinks this is a secure lock?
من يعتقد ان هذا قفل الفيتامين عالي؟
Nobody?
No.
Okay,
This
that's,
is very easy to open.
okay, that's good because this is an interesting thing. Toby went with Nasser yesterday to look at a safe that had two of these similar kind of locks.
صرنا البارحة قضية سرقة وكانوا معي الجماعة كان سرقة من خزنة والخزنة محطوط فيه دولاب فيه قفلين من هذا النوع.
So these locks can be easily picked. They can be keys made easily. They're not secure locks.
هذه عموما هذه المفاتيح اللي هي ممكن تنفتح بطريقة طفاشة بكل سهولة. ممكن تنشر بالارقام. هذا النوع من الاقفال موجود عندنا في الامارات، موجود في دبي، موجود منطقه اسمها سوق نايف. سوق نايف هذا لو معظم محل المجوهرات او عندنا محلات الفترينات الخارجيه مركبين من هالنوع من الاقفال مرقمه. صرت انا مشيت سوق نايف السوق محلات وعندهم مفاتيح كثره، بس اقرا الرقم بامكاني برقم اخذه هناك عند محل واشيل ما اشتري من قبل واصير عند محل باترين اوريدي عند الرقم هني، اصير افتح النوافذ بكل سهوله. هذه من الاشياء البسيطه جدا، ابسط شيء في الاقفال هذا. وهذا طبعا يفترض كشركه كمحل كمركز تجاري كبير او كجهه ما تسمح لوجود هالاقفال على الفترات الخارجيه، ممنوعا من اجراءات امنيه.
اجراءات امنيه بعد يحطون زجاج ضد الكسر، بس هالشيء اللي مو موجود. يحط لك عقد بمليونين 3 مليون الباترينا، والباترينا من اقل دقه كسر.
كذا سرقه صارت في باترينات في الفنادق الكبيره، حاطوا لها اللي في النص هذا قابض ايش؟ بس تدخل هني سكينه تدقها كذي وخلاص تنسرق.
Okay, so there's billions of these locks.
وهاي ملايين هذه الاقفال موجوده.
Because they're cheap, they're everywhere.
لانها رخيصه فموجوده في كل مكان.
In fact, we were at the Atlantis Hotel.
رحنا فندق أطلانتس هني.
In the mall where there's jewelry stores.
وين مجوهرات هناك موجودة.
And they had these kind of locks on some of the display windows.
كما في مجموعة هاي الأقفال على التطرينات.
Also with the codes.
And with the code numbers.
مع الرقم.
So no security.
ما في تأمين.
Okay, this lock right here, you said it's a wafer lock. It doesn't have any codes. How do I make the key for this lock?
هذا يسمونه اللي هو نظام الريش او الحسين ما في اي رقم هني، كيف اسوي مفتاح له؟ اي فكره؟ Yes.
One of the characteristics of this lock, if you know what you're doing, you can look into the lock and get what the key looks like.
من ناحيه الخصائص القفل انك ممكن تشوف من الداخل وتعرف شو نوع القفل المفتاح اللي تبغاه.
Because the unique characteristic of these locks is all the wafers follow the profile of the key. It's just that they all have to be raised up to the right point. But it's actually the key when you look in the lock. Okay, the way the lock works, these wafers ride up and down in a slot.
هذه عبارة عن الريش موجودة، عبارة ارتفاعات أسفل.
Okay, so the wafers, Toby's going to draw a picture. The wafers, when you look into the lock,
اوكي.
show the outline of the key.
طبعا لما تشوف انت الويفر من داخل بتعرف شكل المفتاح كيف داخليا بالنظر.
So when I was a kid, I started looking into the locks.
اما انا كنت صغير كنت اشوف داخل القفل.
And then I could extrapolate in my head how far the entire wafer pack had to be lifted to open the lock. But the pattern was always the same.
وعرف مدى ارتفاع الويفر او ريكو ديسك اللي اقدر ارفعها فيها ارفعها اقدر افتح فيه القفل اخليه في مجرى واحد.
Okay, so the way this works, these are wafers.
Yeah.
Spring.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
well,
yes.
I'm just want to notice
These are
that
just the wafers.
they're the same leg. The wafer, there's only one side.
Okay, all the wafers from top to bottom are the same length.
يعني
Okay?
من فوق لتحت هذا
Okay.
الريش نفس يسمونه نفس المستوى.
So this is the outside dimensions of the wafer. All of these are identical. Okay?
كل هذه مشابهات. كلها
The key goes through the center slot.
المفتاح
of each
يدخل
wafer.
في وسط هذه فتحات هذه الريش كلها.
Okay? So the way this is the shear line. Here and here.
وهذا اللي هو الخط من الشير اللي هو الخط الفاصل ما بين اسطوانه عن جسم القفل كامل.
Okay. So the lock will not work if any of these wafers are above or below the shear line.
طبعا
Remember the pictures yesterday.
القفل ما بيتحرك اذا كان هذا الريش فوق او تحت.
Okay? So the way this works is the internal dimensions
طريقه العمل هذه اللي هي الابعاد الداخليه.
these change depending on the bitting of the key.
هذه تتغير الابعاد الداخليه على شكل المفتاح اللي بيدخل داخل.
So basically when you look into the lock, you're going to
So enters here.
yeah.
This is one cut. This is another cut. This is another cut.
يقول هني مثلا هذا القطع داخل هذا ابعد هذا اقل على حسب تصميم المفتاح وين بيكون مفتاح وين غير مفتاح.
So if I'm looking into the lock and I see this,
انا ما اشوف داخل القفل اشوف هذا وهذا وهذا.
I see that when I look into the lock. So
انا اشوف هذا الشيء داخل القفل اصلا.
So
طريقة كيف اشوفها.
that's actually the key combination, but it all has to be raised up to shear line because he's always set lower.
هذا اعرف مباشرة ان هذا شكل المفتاح لان هذا لازم ارفعهم بالكامل بطريقة بشكل واحد على اساس ان ايش اخلي خط الشير او خط الفاصل يكون بشكل واحد اقدر اقوم.
So basically what we're saying is all of this lifts up in the same proportion.
يعني بمعنى اخر ان هذا كله رفع في نفس المستوى.
And that's what the key does. So somebody can look into the lock
And that's what I'm going
and
to do.
figure out the code.
I'm going to look
And then you
inside
make
this
a
lock.
key.
I'm going to look
بمعنى
inside.
اخر اني ممكن انظر الى داخل القفل واشوف هذه الارتفاعات واقدر اعرف نوع المفتاح اللي يفتحه.
So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to look inside the lock. I can use a pick to move away the wafers and get a better reading.
انا كل اللي اسويه حنشوفه واعرف الابعاد واحركهم.
So basically, I get in my mind, I get numbers that I'm going to cut on a blank key as numbers.
هذا مفتاح خام.
So what you need to make a key is use a key that fits in that lock.
بس احتاج مفتاح يدخل في المجرى.
Okay, and now I'm going to try to make a key for the lock.
Now,
انا عرفت الحين هذا الابعاد هو اسم مفتاح الحين من الخامه.
keep in mind that these locks are used on display cases, on elevators, on alarm panels, on electric switches. They're used everywhere. So this becomes important because they're cheap locks.
هذا النوع من المفاتيح تستخدم في التخزينات، في المصاعد، في الكهرباء، في الحرائق، في صناديق امور كثيره لانها يسمونها فارق خفاف.
And we've demonstrated that we can make keys out of plastic.
وسوينا مفتاح من البلاستيك.
So you could take a credit card, for example, a credit card plastic with a lot of these keyways and make a key. Huh? This is sort of, this is actually a medical, it's a cam lock, but it's similar. Okay?
هذا بعد نفس الشيء قفل بس بشكل ميديكو بس نفس الفكرة.
This is used on a $20 million airplane.
هذا يستخدم لأبواب طائرات قيمتها $20 مليون.
Okay, I'm done.
They sell this lock for $150, by the way.
يبيعون هذا القفل ب$150.
Okay? And we made a piece of plastic to open this lock.
سوينا قطعة بلاستيك تفتح
It's a plastic key. Okay? So, and this is a good lock.
هو قفل جيد.
So that's the same thing we can do with the cheap wafer lock, and you're not going to find any tool marks with a piece of plastic. And you can make this piece of plastic with an X-Acto knife or a scissor.
وممكن يعني طبعا البلاستيك ما يترك اي اثر آلة داخل اطلاقا، ما يترك اي اثار لما يستخدم البلاستيك.
Actually,
والبلاستيك ممكن نسويه على
that's what I saw on the lock.
طعام.
Now, do you think that key is going to open that lock?
عارف انت؟ ايه هذه هي سووا كان خامة كمان خامة بس سووها الآن سووها قدامكم.
So who's going? What do you think? Is that key going to work on that lock or not?
If the deep is less than smaller than the space, should be less than.
That's the key. No, that won't turn it. Show it out even though we didn't inside. You have to find it. Those are used on jets.
Should. We're going to take it apart. Look inside.
And a kid can do that. That opens that lock. That is an exact There's going to be no marks on that plastic.
هذا المقاسات لا يترك اي اثر.
Huh? Where's the key? The keys are around.
اسمعوني يا جماعه، سمحتوا. الاخ سالم ابدا ملاحظه حلوه، يقول قدم سالم يقول الان احنا تقاريرنا الفنيه في المختبر لما نقول احنا نلقوه ما في اثار، فبسرعه جاءت البحث بسوى مركز شرطه الحري نيابه قام وجد اتهام الى من؟ الى صاحب القمه كذا. الان الوضعيه هذه اللي ما في اثر مو معنى ان الشخص اللي نقول له انه هو المجرم. مو شرط يعني الاثر لا يشترط ان يكون الاثر موجود.
I don't think like a regular case. He's gonna show it. What? No, he's asking if we can make a public. That's it.
وما إذا كانت سابقة أو
فعموما الفكره السائده اذا يعني ما في اثار لا يعني بلاغ الشخص بلاغ كاذب او هو الشخص اللي صار. هذا مفهوم السابق ما يكون موجود.
ومع ذلك التحولات
أنا ما أتكلم عن هذا، أتكلم عن هذا هي نوعية لازم
Okay.
Here, you talk, I gotta do this.
Okay, everybody saw the key?
Yes.
Everybody saw me cutting the key here? No, you can't. Okay, I'm not touching the key here. Yeah. Let's do a
كل
bit.
واحد شاف المفتاح وكيف سويناه.
How many of you are going to think that key is going to open that door?
كم واحد تعتقد ان هذا المفتاح بيفتح هذا القفل؟
Just one person thinks it's going to open.
سؤال هذا يقول كم واحد يعتقد ان هذا المفتاح بيفتح هذا القفل؟
According to the deed.
Well,
احنا ما جربنا بس هل كم واحد يعتقد ان هذا المفتاح بيفتح هذا القفل؟
and we're going to take apart that lock.
أربعة بس.
1, 2, like 5 people, 6 people think that that key will work. Okay, so the rest of
ست اشخاص يعتقد ان هذا المفتاح
and the rest of the people think no, it's impossible that that key is going to open that lock. Huh? I don't know.
I didn't try it. I'm asking you guys. It's a I can be wrong. You know, don't trust me. I could be lying. You know, maybe it's not possible.
Yeah, but
You know, I'm trying to get. You know, is it possible? Can it be done? What is he talking about? Imagine if that doesn't work, and they say, "Oh, you know what?" Yeah. So you don't know if I'm testing you guys, so, and I don't know if I did it right. So there's a lot of, but basically, like 90% say, "You know what? That's not gonna work." Who's gonna try that? So because I'm not.
You have to find out the trace of this pieces break off. If you find that, you're not identical. You'd be really lucky to find that. Because it's all screened out. Forget all your physics. Just think about plastic. Yes, but you still have to leave some pieces of plastic. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, but this isn't forcible.
I'm gonna take apart that one.
I won't change shit.
Okay. The 10% that says it's gonna work, it worked. Okay?
اشتغل المفتاح.
Let me take it apart. I'm gonna pass it around. See how the lock works. Take a look inside.
With a little X-Acto knife.
Okay, this is what we're talking about. Everything gets a shear knife on it. Okay, and the lock hole.
شوف هذا شوف كيف
From this one, we looked at the key. Here's a picture of the key. Excuse me.
Yes.
When you do it the key, you do it.
هذا بتشونه لا تشوف كيف طالع هذا طالع فوق لما تحط عليه يصير مستوى واحد. يسوون الكوبيا كذا ما يتخدمون بايش؟
كيف تجيب المفتاح؟ عندنا مستقيم
Away from us. Okay, so you open the locks?
Yeah, of course. So you understand how we did this? We did it with no key, just looking at the lock.
القضية يوضحكم فتحنا القفل بدون وجود قفل معين بدون رقم سواء بالنظر نستقبل القفل عرفنا هذا النظام الريح يسمى نظام ديسكات شو مستوياتهم قدر يسوي المفتاح من المفتاح قدر يفتح القفل هذا فقط من نظر انهم الاقفال البسيط جدا والمتواجده بشكل جدا في كل مكان وخاصه المراكز التجاريه موجوده على الفترينات ما شاء الله.
لو سمحت
تفضل.
هل ممكن يسوي معي مفتاح سواء جيد ومفتاح او رديء سواء سكيور او غير سكيور؟ الطريقه هذا ممكن تفتح اي قفل ولا بس معيار رديء؟
He asking this kind of technique to open this kind of lock now what he did. It's only considered about the cheap lock or the high security lock.
Well, there really is no high security way.
عموما يقول من هذا النظام ما في هاي سكيورتي الله واحد.
Well, except for
ما في نظام هاي سكيورتي. هذا النظام القفل هذا النظام ما في هاي سكيورتي فيه.
سواء ريش او سلندر او شيء.
لا مش سلندر. هذا نتكلم على نظام
فقط الريش.
النظام بتاع نظام اوكي.
Okay, so basically, now, you can have this kind of lock that's double bitted, what we call, rather than single bit. The lock, the key that Toby just made is single bitted. That means there's cuts on one side of the key. The safe that we looked at last night that had been burgled, there was 2 locks. One of them was single bitted. The other was double bitted. But the homeowner never locked the double bitted, more secure lock.
Okay.
Only the single bitted lock.
سنجل بدت اللي هو
Well, first of all, you better explain our terminology is bidding, B-I-T-T-I-N-G, bidding, which is the cuts.
نظام صرنا نتكلم عن قضية صناعة البارحة عبارة عن دولاب باب الدولاب والخزنة. باب الدولاب في نفس النظام هذا ولكن ايش؟ هذا اللي وراكم اياه عبارة عن فردي، قطع فردي، الثاني قطع زوجي يعني من جهتين. زين هو يستخدم دولاب بالقفل بالقطع الفردي فقط، المفتاح بالقطع الفردي، الجهة الفردية بس، ليس جهتين. ف so he was using only single within.
Yeah, remember there's 2 locks. The one on the right side, she never opened.
Yes.
She never locked. So only the left one,
Yes.
which was cut
Was
on
the same.
one side of the key.
Yes.
And the other key, remember, was double bitted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. فكانت تستخدم المجني عليها مبلغة. الخزنة فيها قفلين، قفل واحد مقطوع من جهة واحدة واللي تستخدم الدوام في القفل. الخزنة الثانية فيها المقطوع من جهتين، المفتاح ما تستخدم إطلاقا.
So كيف مقطوع يعني؟
يعني المفتاح مقطوع من جهتين.
يعني ايه مقطوع؟
And the other interesting thing.
نفس السيارة نفس المفتاح.
ميكانيكي
من جهتين من هنا.
Okay, the other, actually, just as a matter of aside, the other interesting thing, when we were talking to the victim, there's a cabinet lock, one of these kind of locks. And Toby just made the key.
اوكي. عبارة عن الخزنة في دولاب بظرفتين. الظرفتين نفس تصميم القفل هذا.
So there's this safe in this cabinet that has the jewels in it.
والخزنة اللي فيها مجوهرات داخل الدولاب.
And there's 2 locks on the safe.
وفي كالونين في باب الخزنة.
And then the cabinet is locked, the safe's inside. The safe's inside the locked cabinet. Remember the left side door?
Yes.
Okay. There's one of these cheap little wafer locks on the left door.
Yes.
The lady says sometimes the safe isn't locked or the keys for the safe are inside the cabinet, but the only security is the one little wafer lock on the cabinet.
بعض الأحيان تخلي المجني عليها مبلغة مفتاح الخزنة في الدولاب في الغرفة الثانية وتقفل الدولاب والخزنة في الدولاب الجهة الثانية. يعني السكيور الوحيد أو التأمين الوحيد الموجود في الدولاب اللي هو في المفتاح، مفتاح يسمونه الدولاب اللي من هذا النظام اللي يقدر يفتح، اللي ينفتح بسهولة وتاخذ يسمونه المفتاح بتاع الخزنه ينفتح يسمونه بقيه الدواليب الثانيه ويسمونه الخزنه.
So the important thing is we asked the lady, the victim, we're trying to figure out what does the burglar, the thief, have to open to get to the jewels? Do they have to open the safe? What do they have to have a key to? And the lady, when we started asking her questions, we said, well, who carries the key for the cabinet door where the key for the safe is inside of? And she says, well, I have it on my key ring.
Okay. هي مسألة المبلغة من اللي يحمل مفتاح الدولاب هذا اللي يتحكم فيه المفاتيح يتحكم بالأمور كلها. فقال عندي أنا في مفتاح سيارة دوم على طول معاي.
So at the end of the day, she told us, yes, the key for the cabinet is on her key ring, which she leaves with the car park attendant.
قالت إحنا هذا المفتاح يكون دوما في مفتاح سيارة ودوما نخليه مع السايق أو نخليه مع بعض الأمور طاولة تخليها أو تخليها مرمية في الغرفة وتروح حوض السباحة ما الأمور هاي.
Which is exactly what we were talking about yesterday. And no alarm system in the house.
وما في نظام جهاز انذار داخل البيت.
So again, when you're doing an investigation involving locks, you really have to think, okay, what do I got to open to get to the missing goods?
في التحقيق لازم أنا أفكر شو اللي أنا أفتحه على أساس أقدر أوصل للخزنة. أوصل للأشياء اللي بسردها.
And how difficult would it be for a thief to get a copy of the key, because there's no damage to the safe. It was obviously opened with a key. How difficult would it be to get the key?
ما هي صعوبة حصول على المفتاح.
And just like the display cases at the Atlantis Hotel, there's code numbers on the locks.
مثل ما شفنا في فندق أتلانتا حصلنا الأرقام على الفترينات على الأطفال الفترينات.
So this is a cheap Indian safe, and I'm betting I can go to any locksmith or shop that carries that safe and get the keys.
وهذه عند خزنة هندية رخيصة لأن الأرقام كلها مدونة على الخزنة كل شيء مدون الأرقام. أنا ممكن أصير عند اللي بايعينه وبقدر أحصل مفتاح.
So again, it's all about codes.
مرة ثانية هي قضية الشفرة رقم الشفرة أو الكود.
So the lock that Toby just opened. Toby?
It's a single-sided wafer lock. If you look at that, all the wafers go onto only one side.
هذا ويفر اللي هو نظام الويفر احنا نسميه في العربي تقريبا نظام السكات لكن هم يسموه ويفر نظام رياش. لما بقول على نظام رياش فواحد يعرف ايش شو قصدي. نظام الرياش هذه يكون يسمونه من جهه هذا النظام جهه واحده فقط مو جهتين.
Yeah, and when you see on the bottom, when you put the key, all the wafers align and it makes it spin around and then it can be set.
يكون طبعا هي الان طبعا مرتفع بس لما توصل هذا الخط يكون كله على استقامه واحده وعلى اسطوانه.
What is important, if you got that lock, just look inside. I'm gonna see that you see every single wafer. If no, you can move it. But that's the profile that if you look at
It's the
inside and you look the key, that's the key.
اوكي انت تشوف في المجرى بتشوف الاختلافات هذا بامكانك تقرا هذه الاختلافات وتتعارف يعني المفتاح يكون مفتاح عموما هذه نوع المفاتيح معروفه تقريبا شبه ثابته معروفه فممكن الخامه تكون في ايدك بكل بساطه تطالع هذا وتعدل فيها وتقدر تدخل في يسمونه في المجرى.
So the important thing is these locks, because they're so cheap, they're used on a lot of these little safes.
المشكلة لأن هذه الأقفال رخيصة جدا تستخدم كثير للخزائن. هذا له نظامين.
This is an example of double-sided wafer.
هذا double sided اللي هو
Double bit.
مزدوج.
Yeah. So not only we have it on one side, we have it also on the bottom. So everything has to get
هذا
matched with the key.
هذا من جهتين موجود، يعني لازم يكون يتلائم كله مع مفتاح.
Now, one other thing, and I must say, while I've been here, I've been to 2 burglary cases. Both of the safes had these kind of locks, the wafer locks. Okay, so the other thing that you need to understand is, if you have keys that'll go into these locks, a lot of times you can jiggle them, like we talked about yesterday, and open them.
إذا عندك مفتاح يعني مشترك أو عندك مفاتيح من هذا النوع ممكن يعني بشكل اتزان وحركات معينة ممكن تفتح مع الوقت. مو شرط يكون نفس المفتاح بالضبط، أنا فاتح جدا رخيص وما في تأمين قوي.
So yesterday, one of the kids that lived in this house where the theft allegedly occurred was a 15-year-old kid. I said, "What kind of keys do you have?"
كان في البيت كان عايش أولاده وأهله عمره 15 سنة، سأله شنو المفاتيح اللي عندك؟
So I had him. He said, "Well, I have a key for school."
قال عندي مفتاح مدرسة.
So I had him bring it to me because, it was a different kind of lock. It was really cheap. But I wanted to make sure that he didn't have a key that would fit inside the lock on the safe, that he might have jiggled it and opened the safe.
حبيت أتأكد إن ما عندي نفس المفتاح من قفل الدولاب اللي ممكن يدخل داخل يحركه يمين يسار عشان تفتح الدولاب.
Because you always want to consider this. I worked a lot of cases where kids actually stole what was missing.
طبعا أنا اشتغلت قضايا كثيرة تبين إن طبعا جناء الأولاد اللي هم اللي يسرقون. طبعا اشتغلنا في قضايا كثيرة في الموضوع، حتى في أكثر من قضية اشتغلناها طلع اللي ماخذ مفتاح فاتح الخدمة وفاتح باب المحل، يكون ابن صاحب المحل أو يكون الأهل يطلع الابن. في قضية اشتغلناها أنا حسني قضية من زمان سنين في عمارة في دور 20 في قريب من الاتصالات في ديرة، كان عائلة إيرانية، نفس الشيء خزنة مسروق منها مجوهرات، وكان حاط هذا Tobias? This one?
Yeah, that's it from Schlage.
Okay.
So, thank you.
اوكي، فكان حاط، فلما اول ما اصحاب العائله كان الزوج والزوجه كانوا مسافرين بردوا، كان العيال موجودين وكان باب غرفتهم مقفوله، فحصلوا اللي هو كان كمات مشاعر الحريم في القفل كانه عامل واحد يحاول منه. اتضح في التحقيق بعد يومين 3 ايام ان الجاني ابن المبلغ، كانوا متهم طبعا الخدم والسايق، وبعد المجوهرات مسروقه بالكامل، فطلع هو اللي سارق ورجعهم بعد. فمعه سرقاتها تطلع من الاولاد.
Because I wanted to eliminate this kid. I looked at him and thought,
خلاص.
he's not involved.
فهو لما جاب الولد خذ المفتاح البارح عنه وشافه، فيبغى يستثني الان من المفتاح، استثنى الولد خلاص مو هو.
But you don't know. And so if I had found a key, if he had had a key ring, and I had found a key that would have gone into the lock in that safe, and I could have jiggled it open, we would have interviewed him right now, outside the parents.
لو حصلنا معاه المفتاح المناسب اللي يدخل عشان القفل كنا استجوابه مباشرة بعد بعيد عن أهله.
And frankly, I would have congratulated him. I wouldn't have even asked him if he opened the safe. I would have just said, "Very clever. This is good. Where's the jewelry?"
كنت أنا بهنيه ولا بتهم، بقول له ممتاز جدا، وين الجوهرات؟ هذا تحت الباب. أوكي.
You never ask them if they did it. You just assume they did it.
أنت طبعا ما تقول سويته، بس تفترض سواه.
Yeah. Okay. Toby.
Well, let's finish then now. Well, yes, sir.
بالنسبه لعمل المفتاح في نظام الديسكات، الان احنا نبص على الموجود نظام الديسكات الموجود جوا، اذا كان رقم واحد مثلا على الخامس اثنين او ثلاثه يكون منخفض صعب يبين شيء.
Okay. What I'm asking, if you're looking at the in the side, inside the lock, okay, and the first lever, it is solely they cannot see the other levers.
You
Good
move it.
question.
Okay.
You can move it.
You can take a pit, move it up, so you can look at the second one.
Just have to
الريش
move
الأولى
this.
الريش يقول لك إذا كانت الريشة الأولى نازل جدا تغطي على الريش الثاني ما تقدر تشوفهم، فكيف تتصرف؟ فيقول لا يقول تاخذ بيك أو تاخذ شيء ترفع الريشة الأولى اللي نازل وايد عشان تشوف بقية الريش.
Or you can take a little needle, anything to move the first wafer out of the way to look at the
أي
next
شيء
one.
يعني
If I use this,
تشوفها يعني.
But you can use a straight pin, a paper clip, whatever you want to
to
do.
make it,
تستعمل
to make it,
To make, no, to make it out of the way.
وين
So you
يعني
can read it.
أساس
So you
تقدر
can move it.
يبعد يسمونه الريشة الأولى عشان تشوف الريشة الثانية تستخدم لما دبوس مال الأوراق يمكن أي شيء في صين أو شيء ترفع تشوفها.
Now,
طب هو الدبوس ده ممكن افتح فيه،
أي ممكن.
فيعني بدل ما اعمل مفتاح واحد هياخد وقته والكلام من ده بالدبوس ده المشبك
You see, when the paper bends, you can open this lock with it.
It can
Yeah,
take
that's
a
correct.
long time
It
to
can
make
take almost
a key.
yes, but we're going to show you, Toby, rake the lock.
That one?
Break it, yeah.
That one.
The wafer lock. Okay, these locks can really be easy to open.
Yeah.
Yes. So easy, even the lab director can open them. The thing is, we used to use jiggle keys. So the key may not open the lock, but if you jiggle it, it'll open. You don't need lock picks a lot of times. Okay? These locks, especially on display cases, these are not secure locks. Toby? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so keep talking.
No, actually, let's talk about pressure.
Okay, all right, so what's the, okay, so,
The other technique that we're gonna talk is impression.
all right, how many of you guys know, how many have heard of impressioning? Okay, you have. How many the rest of you know what impressioning is? Okay, you know what it means to make an impression in tool marks, obviously. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. This is another technique to make keys, to open locks. This is a particularly valuable technique because we can walk up to a lock with a blank key and we can put torque on that key and move it up and down, and we can make the pins make little tiny marks on the key.
For a pin top program.
Pin top,
Okay,
a real
you guys
lock.
talk over there.
هاي نتكلم الآن على قرار ثاني اللي هو نظام السلندرات. يقول احنا ممكن ندخل مفتاح خام داخل يعني هو مقطع ونحركه يمين يسار لما يسوي لي آثار داخل المفتاح.
Okay, so here's what here's the theory. And
Okay, let me start. I got a one key.
هذا شوف هذا الحين بلانكي
I got it on a vise, and I'm gonna try to make a key for a lock that I don't know the combination.
أنا
Okay?
بدخله وما أعرف يسمونه تقطيع أو ما أعرف هذا.
now, here's the first important thing. This can be done all at once, or it can be done over a period of time.
هذا ممكن يصير مرة واحدة أو على فترات.
Okay, why is that important? Because let's say I have access or I walk up to a building that I want to break into or an office.
هذا خاص ليش هذا مهم؟ لأن إذا افترض دخلنا على مبنى أو مكتب أبغى أدخل داخل المكتب هذا أو الغرفة.
Every day, I'm going to walk up with my key and my vice grip, or a little handle. We've got a special little key holder. It's a round little key holder that the key locks into. We put it in and go do 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 do. Okay?
مو شرط إنه يسويه في مرة واحدة. يعني يمر المكتب يوم على أيام مختلفة. حط مفتاح المكتب هذا حرك فيه في بعض الأشياء يكون في مقبض خاص مفاتيح بالتصميم عشان تدخل تمسك المفتاح وتسوي حركة فيه وتروح وتصير بيتك وتحاول تعدل فيه وترد مرة ثانية بين فترة وفترة.
So we rotate the key left, right, and while we're doing, and then we lift it forward, backwards. So we force the pins to mark the top of the key.
احنا نحرك المفتاح يمين يسار تحت فوق نتأكد من وجود آثار البنز على المفتاح نفسه بعدة حركات.
Okay, so I can do that every day. Let's say I want to break into an office.
نفترض اني انا بفتح مكتب مدير.
Every day I'm going to take 15 seconds. And I'm going to stick my little key in and I'll go, and then I'm going to go away and I'm going to look at the marks.
زين. اي باب المكتب 15 ثانية حركة يمين يسار فوق تحت واخذ وافتح مكان ثاني واشوف الاثار المارك اللي على البلانك كي او المفتاح الخام.
And I'm going to take my special little file and I'm going to file on every day or continuous until I don't see a mark.
زين وبتم يمسح الصغير خاص وتم اسحب هذا مكان العلامة لما او على فترات على ايام لما اشوف هذا الاثار كل ما اجرب لما اشوف هذا الاثر اختفى تماما.
Now, when there are no more marks on the key is going to open the lock.
لما يكون ما في اي علامة على المفتاح اقدر افتح القفل المفتاح.
Okay, why does two things? First of all, this is going to leave tool marks.
هذا يكون اثر آلات داخل.
Where are there going to be tool marks?
وين يكون اثر آلات؟ حد يجاوب.
Well, first of all, they're going to be on the sides of the keyway.
يكون اول شيء على مجرى المفتاح من جهتين.
Okay, and there can be marks on the bottom of the pins.
يكون هناك علامة على أسفل البساتين.
And there can be marks on the top of the pins.
ويكون علامة على أعلى البساتين.
Because if you visualize what's happening in the lock,
إذا تتخيل شو صار في القفل.
remember, and this is what you do with every tool marks investigation.
Okay.
How could the mark have been made and where?
هذا طبعا يصير جميع تفاصيل أثر آلات. كيف الأثر آلة صارت؟ أو وين الأثر آلة وكيف صارت؟
It's all about force.
كلها بمجال القوة فقط.
Okay, so remember what we said about how a pin tumbler lock works.
تخيل كيف ميكانيكية أو تقنية اللي هو قانون الأسطوانة الإسندرات كيف تشتغل.
And tolerance. The gap between the plug and the shell.
أو نظام حركة ما بين الأسطوانة مع جسم الخزنة مع جسم سوري قفل الكهرباء.
Remember, there's a gap of a few thousand inches between the plug and the shell.
أوكي في مسافة بينية ما بين الأسطوانة وجسم القفل عد جزء من 1000 من أو من الإنش أو جزء من مئات من الملي.
Okay. Okay. So a lot of locksmiths actually don't understand why impressioning works. They know it works, but they don't understand why.
معظم الشغالين في الحرفيين مهنيين في الأطفال
They don't understand the physics.
اوكي ما يعرفون مفهوم الفيزياء الطبيعي لهاي القوة بس يعرفون هاي قد العمل.
Okay, so I'm going to, and the lock is open. He just impressioned it from a blank key to make a key that opened the lock while we were talking.
After how many tries?
Well, it's not how many tries. It's, is this a 5-pin lock?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a 5-pin lock, so he had to cut. He had to sample each pin.
ترى هو مثلا وضح قال العمل تستغرق مرة واحدة أو على عدة مرات.
Okay, so these are brand new Schlage locks that my client in America sent. Okay, these are very popular locks in America. They're pretty good locks. All right. So, and this is a keyway that's used on millions and millions of locks in America, just like that keyway that we bought yesterday. Same thing.
Okay.
Okay.
هذا المجد يعني نحن عندنا شوف نظام معروف عندنا معظم دول الخليج معروف اللي هو نظام يل المجرى ثابت تقريبا نفس المجرى فانت بالسوق تاخذ اي بلان كي مجرى يل اللي هو سواء 5 أو 6 بساتين وتجرب فيه تحطه وتلف يمين يسار بتشوف علامات موجوده على هذا فيقول هذا نفس النظام عندنا في امريكا اللي هو هذا نفس النظام نظام ثابت مجرى ثابت لملايين البيوت موجوده في كل مكان.
Okay, so.
Well, I think what you have to understand is not all the times you can get a key using it, copying it, and you have to see the original key. You can create a key in different ways, and it's not always because you copy the original.
مو معناه انك تقدر تسوي نسخة مفتاح لازم يكون عندك النسخة الأصلية من اللي تنسخ عليه. ممكن تسوي بطريقة ثانية مثل ما وضح لكم هذا طريقتين طريقة اللي هو مفتاح اللي هو نظام الريش مفتاح هذا بدون ما ايش بدون ما يكون عنده النسخة الأصلية من اللق نفسه.
And the biggest example would be Marc is the owner of that lock has only 2 keys, or he's an employee and the employee gets 2 keys.
مثل ذلك ان هذا مثل موظف مثلا مارك وعنده مفتاحين بس مفتاحين.
And I make a key for this cylinder, which is the front door, and I steal a bunch of computers.
وأنا أسوي هذا مثل المفتاح ومع بدون علمه وصل كمبيوترات أو معلومات.
And they caught me and they found the key with me.
أو وقضوا علي كاشتباه وحصلوا عندي هذا المفتاح.
Okay, so the only person who has key is Marc. So you're assuming that Marc is my cousin.
Okay, ومن المفتاح مفتاح عند مارك ما عنده هو بس هني التحريات أو جاي بيقول لك لا هذا شريكه للسرقة.
Yeah, because on your mind, the only way that I can get a key is if Marc gave me that key and I copy that key.
في عقليتك إنه غير ممكن إني أحصل نسخة مفتاح إلا عن طريق.
Toby, where's the original?
صاحب العلاقة. معناه أنا سويت المفتاح دون علم صاحب العلاقة.
Okay, so.
ها؟
بعملية الاستنساخ عملية استنساخ إذا كان يعني ستنسل تشوف إنه في علامات على المفاتيح الأصلية بعد عن إيه.
Okay, he asked a question, yes, the gentleman. أو بقول سؤال اللي طرحه أخونا إن عملية الاستنساخ لازم تكون هناك آثار على القفل الأصلي اللي بتستنسخ منه، على أساس قصدي على أساس لما يحطه في الماكينة بيسوي آثار على نفس الشيء. But he mentioned if the guy he make a copy from the original, the key will be the original key will be marked because the traces of the.
Well, but that's the idea. Never think that the only way to make a key is by just duplicate the key.
لا تاخذ في يسمونه عقليتك او مفهومك انه ممكن يسوي نسخه فقط من المفتاح الاصلي. لازم توسع شوي او يمكن تسوي بعض الطرق.
Okay, now you can look at these. This is the factory original keys.
هذا مفتاح المصنع الأصلي.
First of all, they were nice enough to print the codes on the keys. And these are direct reading codes.
يعني يقول لك طابعين يسمونه الكود على المفتاح نفسه.
Okay? So this is a perfect example. This is what we were talking about a couple of days ago. All right? We want you to, everybody look at this key and read the code.
تبقى كل واحد يقرأ يطالع ويقرأ الكود أو الرقم أو الشفرة.
Okay?
Check it with the numbers that
Look at the numbers and then look at the cuts.
شوف الرقم وشوف القط. قارن الرقم مع
and see
القط.
if it makes sense. Actually, you can take two.
Yeah, here, let me split it. Here, split this. Toby, are all these sitting key alike?
No.
Okay. So I want you to look at those first of all, and then I'm going to show you the impression key. So, what does that number tell you? That tells you if you can have access to that key, you can go make one. Because that's a direct reading code.
هذا يعني الرقم الموجود يعطيك يعني إمكانية إنك تقطع المفتاح بروحك لأن هذه الأرقام هي نفس ارتفاعات القطع.
Okay, so this was cut with a file. You'll notice in the impressioned key, this looks really different than the factory key.
هذا what this one? What?
This was cut by file.
Okay. هذا القطع من يسمونه من المسحل.
Okay, there's a big difference. If you look at the roots of each one of these cuts, the base of the cuts versus the factory key, they're totally different.
And
Okay.
depending what type of file you use, you can also and your factory original, most likely you're gonna see cuts like that. And impressioning for a key that was impression.
Yeah, I don't know what
You
the
can
code is.
find it
This is
like-
probably like, that's a, yeah,
Like a
like a 4,
This is the cut. For an original.
6, 1, 8. It's pretty close to that. I didn't read the code of that. Okay, but what's important here is you can always look at a factory code cut key and say,
اوكي.
that was probably
يقول لك
made
في
by the
القطع
factory.
يكون مثلا القطع المفتاح المفروض بالمصنع يكون بالطريقه هاي بتاع الافراد. بس بالفايل ما يصير القطع على طريق يوش يعني على حرف يو مثلا ما يكون بطريقه القطع خط بشكل مستقيم.
Yeah. Usually for impressioning, most people use a round file. So that the round file will give you a cut key like a U shape.
بعض الناس تستخدم اللي هو المسحل بشكل دائري، يعني المسحل الدائري يعطيك شكل المفتاح والقطع دائري تشوفونه.
I use a triangular, and my cut is more like in a V shape.
أو مثلث على حسب القطع المسحل يستخدم.
These are
مثلا
flat,
على شكل مثلث.
perfectly flat and geometric. These are
يعني المفتاح اللي يجبر ليس بالشرط يكون
نفس شكل البنزين
نفس شكل المفتاح اللي
الأصلي.
الاصلي لان عندك تحكم عليه كم كيس المسحل في اسلوب القط المفتاح. فحتى لو وجد المفتاح معاكم لازم ينظر تحت الميكروسكوب ستيريو ميكروسكوب يشوف شكل القطع على المفتاح نفسه على اساس ممكن تتخمن هل هذا تم القطع بالماكينه او بشكل يدوي.
واي قطعه يا عبد العزيز يفتح الجهد دي الحاله؟
ها؟ انتوا قطعك عاد؟
لا يقصد لو القطعه عند الاوريجينال كان مثلا تراينجل احنا سويناه اللي هو حرف اليو يبي يفتح الجهد ما في بس مجرد يترك اثار في نفس المجال.
مثلا ولكن ايش؟ حيكون ايضا المفتاح لو ضبط بتعرف ان هذا مصنوع يدويا او بآلة.
بس في اختلاف يعني
لا لان اللي مسوق بآلة هذا معروف شكله نفس قطعة المفتاح الاصلي بس اللي باليد كل ساعة
هلا ما يعني الغرض ان يكونوا نفس الليفل؟
بكون نفس الليفل ولكن اختلاف ايش في اسلوب القطع بالميكروسكوب حتشوفها.
او حتى بالعين نحطهم على بعض.
يا جماعة
Any questions so we can go to break?
Yes. في سؤال ولا في بريك؟
Just pass that lock around so everybody can look at the difference between what the impression key looks like and the cuts on the original.
فالمفاتيح مشوها معاكم عشان تشوفون القطع الأصلي والقطع ايش الفرق بين القطع اليدوي والأصلي ايش.
Finish telling you why impressioning works. Okay? So that you understand. Remember yesterday or the day before we told you that there's a gap between the shear line and the shell or the body of the lock.
تذكرون انه قال لكم هناك في مسافه فاصله ما بين يسمونه الشير لاين والخص الفاصل ما بين الاسطوانه وجسم القفل.
Okay. The lock will only open when the pins are sitting at the top of the plug but below the shell or the body of the lock.
بيكون بيفتح القفل لما يكون بساتم او على قولة الجزات على اعلى السلندر او المتحركه واسفل اسم اللي يسمونه.
Okay.
جسم القفل.
So the theory of lock picking and lock bumping and impressioning.
نظرية اللي هي فتح طرفاشة أو طريقة طرق البامينج أو استعمال الضغط
are all doing the same thing.
كلها نسوي نفس العملية.
We want to set the pins, and the word is set. Set the pins right at shear line.
القصد منها وضع البنزات البساتة على مستوى الخط الفاصل ما بين الاسطوانة وجسم القفل.
And all the pins have to be at shear line. If any are above or below, the lock won't open.
لازم البنزات او البساتة تكون على نفس الخط لا يكون فوق ولا يكون تحت.
Okay, so when we're doing impressioning, we start off with a blank key that lifts all the pins above shear line, or to or above shear line.
لما نعمل طريقة الفتح بطريقة فنية لما ندخل احنا القفل الخام او المفتاح الخام نرفع جميع البساتم الى اعلى من الاسطوانة اعلى من الخط يسمونه الشير لاين او الخط الفاصل.
Okay, so when we first put in the blank into the lock and we put torque on the plug, we twist the plug.
لما نحط المفتاح الخام في القفل ونستخدم القوة في عمل الضغط على البساتم. Okay.
We need to do that because we want to bind the pin between the plug and the shear line so it can't move up and down.
لما نحطه يكون نضغط على الشير لاين على سمنه على البساتم بخليه ما يتحرك لا فوق ولا تحت ويكون الضغط واضح عليه.
So we not only bind it by twisting.
يعني نلويه ما نلويه بس ثاني بسيط.
But then we try to, while we're binding, we try to lift the pin from the back of the key and to the front. So we rock it back and forth.
نحاول نرفعه وننزله مع ضغط ثاني بسيطة فوق وتحت.
Okay, so when we do that, the pins can't move vertically.
لما نسوي كذي يكون البستم ما يتحرك رأسيا.
Because they're binding. Because when you put torque on the plug, the pins can't move up and down. Even the thousandths of an inch. Okay, so what we're going to do is the theory is that either the pin is going to depress the material on the key,
بيكون نظريا البستن بيضغط على المفتاح
or the key is going to try to move the pin upward.
أو بيحرك المفتاح البساطة بالذات لفوق.
If you bind the key, the pin can't move upward, so the only other result is to make a very, very slight depression on the surface of the key.
إذا البستن ما صار لفوق فبالضبط هيكون أثر موجود على المفتاح.
Now, we're talking about maybe a half a thousandth or a quarter thousandth of an inch if we're depressing material. We're marking the key.
نحن نتكلم على أجزاء من الإنش.
Okay.
اللي بتسوي آثار على المفتاح.
Now, the only time that there's not going to be a mark
الشيء الوحيد اللي ما بيكون فيه أثر آلة
is when the bottom pin is exactly at shear line.
لما يكون البستن مباشرة على الخط الفاصل اللي ما بين الاسطوانة وجسم القفل.
Because there's a gap.
لأن هناك فراغ.
And when you try to move the pin up and down at that gap, there's no mark because it's free floating for a thousandth of an inch.
لأن لما يكون هناك فراغ ما بيكون هناك حركة داخل أصلا تتحرك الاسطوانة بالتالي against the.
So when the marks.
Excuse me, against the can we that one?
Okay, well there's a gap.
Okay.
And when the pin, the bottom pin.
Okay.
Is right at the gap.
Okay.
It's free floating in that gap.
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't make any pressure.
Okay.
There's no compression because it can move up and down.
يكون في حالة فراغ فما يكون في قوة تضغط عليه على سوي أثر على المفتاح. Okay.
It's not binding.
It's not my meal.
Okay? So when all the pins stop binding, they're at shear line.
لما كل المساكن ما تسوي هذه قضية يعني التواء أو ضغط على المفتاح يعني كلهم على نفس المستوى.
And when they're at shear line, the lock opens.
لما يكون على نفس المستوى المفتاح.
Okay, so the trick is to be able to read mark, no mark on the key. Marks, no marks.
يعني يكون هناك إما أثر أو لا يوجد أثر.
And the position of the marks can vary. It's not constant. You may do one pin and it may stop marking, so you stop.
Yeah, we did one here, and actually the way that we did it, we put the cylinder, I prepared the key, jiggle the key, and I asked one of you guys, okay, you tell me where you see marks, where you want me to find. So they say, okay, I see marks here and here. That's where I mark. And they say, oh, no, I see here and here. Then I see 4 marks. And at the end, the lock was open.
يعني يقول كان قبل البريك كانوا جماعة وكانوا يجلسوا معاه كانوا يشوفون المفتاح اللي يسويه كانوا يوريهم وين الأثر في المفتاح نضغط على القفل فقالوا هني وهني هني وهني على هالآثار لما شافوا سحبته وفتح المفتاح.
Okay, so first of all, you should be able to see impression marks, at least on the sides of the pins to start with. Because don't forget, we're binding those pins and trying to force them upwards.
الآثار اللي تفحصونها في الداخلية للقفل أول شيء على جوانب على المجرى القفل والكالون تشوفون إذا في آثار احتكاك أثر الضغط اللي عليه.
Just 1 second. Okay, so what we're going to show you on the key is what a mark looks like. Before we do that, I have under the microscope a pin. I did all these for my book. This is a pin from a lock that was vibrated open.
هذا لايف بستن ميكروسكوب مكبرة هذا راس البستن هاي آثار تشوفونها آثار لطفاشة إزازية هاي الفابريتر.
Okay, this is really a favorite tool to open locks. I don't like it, but some locks you can't pick open, but you can buzz open in 2 seconds.
يعني هاي آلة تفتح وما يحبها ولكن كثير من البلاكسميث أو كذا يحبون على أساس ما تأخذ معهم وقت في فتح الأبواب.
So this is really easy to detect. If you look at this pin,
هذه بسهولة ممكن تشوف آثارها. تشوف هذا يسمونه البستن.
okay, just a minute, I need my laser. Okay. Okay, so this is really clear. Every one of these is an impact mark. Is there anybody that can't see that? Yeah. I mean, and you'll notice these go all the way around the pin. Why? Because that pin is spinning. That pin is being moved around. It's not that the pick is moving, the pin is moving. Okay, so
حركة البستن وين تحرك الداخلي؟ دوران هاي الآثار الضرب اللي عليه شوف الآثار هاي آثار للفابريتر.
okay, so this is the best example. This is what you're looking for if you have a vibrator pick. Now, if you use a snap pick, which I really don't like.
هذا اللي هو طفاش الإسلامية الكهربائية.
Law enforcement thinks these are really good. This is like learning to open locks without learning anything. Okay?
هذا يسمونه نوع يسمونه يسمونه بالعربي طفاشة على شكل مسدس. لكن يقول لون فرنس اللي هو شرطة في أمريكا هم يستخدمونها وايد في فتح الأبواب.
The theory is the same. You put this at the base of all the pins, and then it violently moves them. This is just like lock bumping.
هذا مثل نوعية bumping لكن من داخل يضرب داخل لما يفتح الأبواب.
So this is exactly like a bump key.
مثل البامب كي.
Okay? So what this is the theory is, again, Newton's third law of motion.
هذه نظرية اللي هي نظرية الثالثة لنيوتن.
For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So what happens is, just like lock bumping, only this is even a better demonstration. This is the equivalent to jamming the key into the lock. All right. So what happens is, if you have this on the base of every pin properly. Here's a zoom. This is focus. This is zoom.
This is a brand new pin.
Yeah. Okay. So, just like the example that we showed you with the balls on Newton's cradle or on a pool table, when you provide energy to the base of each pin, the bottom pin doesn't move, the pin above it moves.
مثل لعبة يسمونها الكرات، هاي الكرة اللي هذا في النص ما يتحرك الكرة الأخيرة، فهذا نفس الشيء تضرب مثل البستن اللي في البستن ما يتحرك ايش؟ اللي ورا البستن. Okay.
You understand? Or yes? Okay. So theoretically, when you snap pick a lock or when you bump a lock,
نظريا لما تستخدم مسدس الطفاشة أو البامبينج
for a few milliseconds,
جزء من الثانية,
the top pins are going to separate away from the bottom pins.
الأجزاء العلوية فوق البستن تنفصل عن البستن حد ذاته.
Now, what happens when the two pins separate?
شو يصير لما يفصل البستمين عن بعض؟
If they separate across shear line,
إذا فصلوا عن الخط الفاصل,
and you put tension on the plug at the same moment,
وفي نفس الوقت تعطي عزم أو شدة على الاسطوانة من الداخل تحركها.
There's nothing to stop the plug from turning.
ما يمنع عن حركة الاسطوانة من داخل.
Everybody understand? So this is the ideal bump key. I hate these.
هاي الفكرة للمسدس الطفاش ويكرهها.
This is like learning to fly an airplane, but you don't know how to land, you don't know how to take off, and you don't know what happens when wind comes up.
إذا مثل طريقة إنك تسوق طيارة ما تعرف كيف تطيرها، ما تعرف كيف تنزلها، ولا تعرف كيف تتصرف بدها فيه.
So this is like all the police in America thinks this is how you pick locks. Okay, because it takes no skill. And in the perfect world, you can open locks with that. I mean, some of my friends go click, click, the lock's open. I never could do that because it's not lock picking. Okay? So, but they sell a lot of these tools. And you're going to see the same kind of marks on the pin. It's a violent impact on the base of the pin. So it's going to depress material because brass is a soft material.
لأن هذا حديد وهذاك نحاس عامل الصلادة بينهم عامل الصلادة في الحديد عامل النحاس بالتالي بيكون آثار قوية على رأس البستم.
So this is a spring steel pick.
هذا ستيل هذا البيك من مادة الصلب.
So it's going to basically impress and cut into the brass.
طبيعي حيكون آثار موجودة على الثمانين.
Thank you.
الآثار مختلفة عن البامبنج ولا نفس
the two or the traces in the distance will be different than the bumping than this one than the picking.
Yeah, well, the bumping is going to be a little different because with the snap pick, the force is coming directly to the base of the pin.
في مسدس الطفاشة حيكون الضرب على البن مباشرة.
Okay? When you insert a bump key, the force is coming from the side angles of the pin.
وبالنسبة يسمونه نظام بمب بالمفتاح حيكون الضرب على البستم من الجنب.
So it's an application of indirect energy. The result is the same, but it's indirect energy.
هو نفس العملية بس هذه الطاقة غير مباشرة بالسمونة.
Because in order to replicate what the snap pick is doing, the key has to move against the sides of the pins in order to raise them. It's happening in a hurry, but the force is coming that way rather than that way.
يعني الفرق ما بين بامب المفتاح ان القوة جاية من الجنب، اما سدس الطفاشة جاية القوة من الاسفل مباشرة للأعلى.
If you do it enough times, now if you do it one time, you probably won't see it.
إذا سويت معك من أول ضربة ما بتشوف آثار واضحة بس عدة مرات حتشوف الآثار.
But if you're not so good at it, or if the lock has got dirt in it, it's more difficult. Like these crappy locks, we had to bump several times because the tolerances are so bad. Then, if you bump it several times, every time you do that, you're exerting force between one piece of metal on the pins.
Okay. أنت الآن إذا عندك مثلا أطفال فيها بعض القاذورات داخل أو ما أو العزم السبرينج فيها مختلف مو متساوي مثل الجنك يسمونه الفول التعبانة فما بتحصل عدد ضربات هذه الضربات بتكون لك آثار على الآلة بسبب الضربات المتتالية لأن المعدن مع معدن احتكاك حيكون لك أثر مع مفتاح مع معدن آخر والبراس والنحاس للبستة معدن آخر.
Okay, so that's the difference between snap pick, vibration pick, and bumping, but they all accomplish the same thing.
هذا الفرق ما بين نظام البمبنج اللي هو الطرق وما بين سناب بيك اللي هو مسدس الطفاشة والطفاشة العادية.
So if where's my electric?
يا جماعة إذا حد ما فهم مني شيء خبرني أنا أحاول أجاريهم بأقصى ما يمكن. ها؟
Okay, So there's two versions of electric picks that I like. This is made by a company called HPC in America. They've been around since 1935. They're very good friends of mine. They supply locksmithing tools all over the world, but they're not the biggest. Basically, this is a Black & Decker tool that's been modified.
اوكي هذا وهذا كمباني ذا كمباني
HPC.
اوكي هذا شركه اسمها اتش بي سي
HPC. Yeah.
هي شركه قديمه 1935 وهذه وهو يفضل هالآلتين اصلا وهي من ضمنهم وهذا الفايبريتر اصلا من شركه بلاك اند ديكر اللي يسوون تولز.
Yeah. This is a modified tool with different kinds of pick tips.
هذا تم تعديل برضه تصميم معين اللي هني حال مع ادوات مختلفه تولز مع نظام الطفاشه.
Okay, so this is one type. Now the folks that are going to be here Thursday, these are the best guys in the world for these kind of tools.
يوم الخميس اليوم الاثنين اللي بيحاضرون في البرزنتيشن بيكونوا هذول افضل ناس في العالم يسوون ادوات طفاشه.
And their company is called Wendt, W-E-N-D-T.
والشركه اسمها وينت.
And their owner and one of their representatives from Spain are going to be here Thursday.
وواحد ممثل من الشركه من اسبانيا حيكون موجود هنا.
We're going to show you some government bypass tools.
حيوريكم الادوات الحكوميه اللي هي تستخدم في التجاوز الفني.
These are restricted to government. Okay.
وهذه مصممه فقط للحكومات.
So they carry picks, they carry vibrating guns. So this is one of the kinds of vibrating guns, and this is rechargeable.
وهذا يسمونه واحد من الانواع وهذا يعطيك الشحن.
And the pick tip can be changed. Now I broke the pick tip, so I had to go and I ran out of the straight ones. So I've got an angled pick tip.
أنا كسر عندي واحد من الطفاش حطيت واحد مستوي شوي.
And then the other kind, this is made in Germany. This is a different kind of tool. This is a very precise vibrating tool. And this is made by a few companies in Germany with a very controlled amount of vibration. And this runs on C batteries, so that you don't have to charge it.
هذا نفس النوع ولكن هذا يستخدم بطاريات. بفرز جيرماني؟ هذا ألماني. اسمه ألماني. هذا بس بطاريات.
So the locks, they vibrate open the same way. Sometimes you can do this really fast. This is a 5-pin profile cylinder. If I don't break the
pins.
Just a minute. Let me grab one that's got a really easy keyway to show you guys.
يا جماعة هني هالصورة اللي أوريكم إياها لما أستعمل مفتاح بالضبط كان هني يسمونه يوريك أثر الضغط على الحواف.
Okay, that lock is open.
لما كان دخل يسوي بالضغط عليه هني يوريك الآثار اللي حتطلع لك ليش على شوف هالقفل هذا بالكامل فهني يوريك الأثر. Toby, if you have another lock would be used force to see compare that to this.
Okay.
Yes.
This is, again, this is a 5-pin lock, all right? This keyway is a little bit easier to demonstrate, all right? This lock is locked. So I put a tension wrench in, just like we do for picking. Okay? I'm putting torque on it. Now, of course, it won't open. Sometimes, like when I just did it, it was like 1 second. My batteries
Game over.
Game over, yeah.
Put this here, this one.
Here, it's open. Okay, so that was, once it did it was 2 seconds. It just depends because it's really chaotic. Now, all these locks on the table, I buzzed open this morning, all right? Just like that. So this is this is an open cylinder. So now if I take this apart, I'm going to find marks all over this keyway and all over these pins.
أنا أحيانا تعتبر بالطفاش الكهربائية الغازية. أنا لو افتحين أجزاء هذا القفل حشوف آثار في جميع الجهات على المجرى وعلى البساتين. زين.
Yeah, go ahead. And we'll come back to this because we'll show you how we take a plug apart to look at these marks. Because we got pins and we got the piece of the plug.
So they can see what it is and then we zoom in.
Okay.
Okay.
هذا القفل المفتاح. طبعا هذا القفل ما استخدم أي ضغط عليه ولا في أي شيء جديد. طبعا لما فتحتم الآن القفل بطريقة ضغط المفتاح هني تشوفون هذا القفل ما نستخدم ما في آثار. This is never used.
Never used. This is a brand new cylinder. It just came when we were doing the presentation. They came with those cylinders.
Okay. ما في أثر على جديد بالطريقة هذه. Okay. الآن we will change it يعني بالطريقة هاي الأثر تحت الميكروسكوب. الآن المفتاح اللي استخدم لما سووا لكم إياه عن طريق الضغط ضغط الآلة. Which one to use? This one or this one? Use this one?
No, that's the one that we.
This one? Okay. Okay. الآن بحط القفل اللي استخدم إيش؟ عن طريق الضغط. Okay. Okay. Sorry. أودي ميت اليسار. عكس عكاز هذا اللي يستخدم ضغط. كل الفرق الآن الآثار موجودة.
You can see the difference between the first one and this one.
هذا استخدم الضغط اللي عليه.
The reason is when we put in the key for impressioning, we force the key side by side, going up and down, side by side. So we make it impressioning on the sides of the cylinder.
يكون الضغط على الجهتين للمفتاح من جهة ومن الجهة الثانية. ففي أثر ضغط. هذاك يكون مجرى زي السيدة. هذا صار شيء شوي مفتوح. ينفع نظر الضغط اللي عليه كذا فرصة استعمال الضغط.
Remember, I was using a vice grip and turning and going up and down.
كان يستعمل اللي هو الزرادية. ماسكينه يستخدم طبعا قوة العزم اليد فيعطيك عزم أكثر فيسوي فتش زيادة تحت في القاعدة.
Okay, this is one of the indications, right?
هذا أحد المؤشرات.
This is from the outside.
هذا المؤشر الظاهري أو الخارجي.
Now, these marks can be also be made if you have a lock that is hard to open. With the time, then you're going to have those same marks. The only difference will be if you open that lock, you're going to see the marks on the walls, inside the walls of the cylinder.
Where's the, did you show a standard, a standard plug with no marks?
مقلد فحتى هالآثار ممكن تحصلها إذا استخدمت المفتاح يعني نسخة بس رديئة اللي ما تفتح إلا بقوة تضغط عليها بعد يمكن تنشألك مع هاي الآثار.
And Toby, you showed a standard pin? You showed a standard pin with no impression marks at all. Just the constant.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did it before. That was the first thing we did.
Okay, and what about? And this is the base of the keyway?
Yeah. Zoom out.
Zoom out on that. Okay. And what about, and do we look on the sides also? Okay, so obviously the markings, they're compression marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. That's what I was going to get at. Because you not only have them here, you're going to have them all the way around. Because you're putting torque and you're compressing that material all the way around, and you're moving that key up and down.
اوكي الاثار حتى ما تحصل هني حتى تحصل لين اعلى الشيء لان المفتاح بحد ذاته يتحرك ها جميع التماسك شيء مثل مقبض قوي في مقبض خاص بالاطفال وفي الزراديه ممكن ايش تتحرك فيه او بكر يطلع لك هذا الاثار اثار تكون ناجيه واثار راح تكون تحت القاعده وفي جزء ايضا من خلال المجرى.
See, these are going to be, this should be somewhat uneven. Okay? So everybody understands on impressioning?
في حد استعمل موضوع الضغط اللي على الجوانب الحواف الخارجيه للقفل؟
Well, the idea is that that's why we go with the process of picking, bumping, so you understand what is involved in opening the lock. Then you have to be creative also and look at this picture and say, okay, what could have caused those marks?
أنت ممكن تصور كبير على أساس تكون تعرف هاي الآثار وين أتت وليش يترتب في هذا المكان هذه.
Yeah, it's really not complicated with locks.
مش معقد بالنسبة للأطفال.
Because we're talking about the exertion of force. Now, it might be slight, and it might be a lot, and it might be violent. Okay, but it's all the same. It's two pieces of metal, just like any other tool marks, coming against each other. So what you have to do is figure out where and why. So, if you, it's okay. Yeah. Okay.
This is a regular normal.
This is normal?
Yes.
Is
It's
that
a normal wear and tear.
Yeah.
Because the key hits some.
Yeah, okay. So, you're going to have wear here because the shoulder stop of the key pushes against the front of the plug. This is pretty normal junk. Is this an old cylinder? Or is this
More or less. But we bought the other side. So
okay. So, let's take a look. What's the difference?
شو الفرق ما بين يا جماعة شو الفرق كان وراكم وجه لأثر وجه اللي يسمونه
But again, be careful. Just take a look because now we're gonna analyze this what we're seeing. And actually, let's go back to the So the key impressions here, here, and goes here. Okay? But that's normal for the key. Remember that you're putting the key in, the key stops, you remove the key. You do that 1,000 times, and you're gonna get marks on the cylinder. That's not an indication of a bump key.
هذا ليس مؤشر على أساس إنه استخدام الطرق bumping.
Now, another, the way that you're gonna introduce the key is gonna be straight in.
On normal use.
Okay.
However,
So in a normal key, you insert the key straight in and then you turn it. So you guys remember bumping then. What do you do with bumping? You don't put the key straight. You put tension on the key and then you strike the key.
البامبنج انت تعطي عزم وشده ضغط بجهه معينه للقفل ثم تضربه.
Okay, so you see the marks going outside the.
Well, this is the stop.
فالاثار حتكون جانبيه. لان انت لما تضرب الغلاف ايش حيتحرك معاك جهه معينه.
The markers are more deep, but also because you have to turn the key before you strike it, then you see the marks outside also as a regular.
Okay, so this would be, okay, this mark on bumping, if you don't know what you're doing, this you will really never see on normal lock use. Because this, the key is being slammed into the front of the face of the lock. This is a prime indication of bumping. And you can't make it go away.
No.
Once the front of the lock is indented, and they'll all do this. Okay? Sides, you may or may not see it. The problem is if you know what you're doing and you do it once and the lock is open, just like the one I did in New York that we showed the 7-second video, that was 6 strikes with a key that didn't have a shoulder to make this kind of mark. So if you would examine that Medico cylinder, you wouldn't have seen anything. Why? Because you were using a very soft brass bump key with no shoulder stop that would make this mark, and I was tapping it really, really lightly. I wasn't slamming it. I was tapping it like a 12-year-old girl would. I did.
يقول الآثار هذه يعني مش شرط تكون موجودة لسبب معين، إن في مثلا بعض المفاتيح ما فيها الشولدر أو الكتف اللي يضرب هني، وبعضهم مثلا أضرب مثال على موضوع القبل اللي بنتحاف في نيويورك، هذاك من معدن بحديد، والمفتاح مستخدمينه عبارة من النحاس الصفر، فبالتالي وأيضا عبارة عن ليس بالضرب الشديد بس بالطرق البسيط جدا اللي هو ما يخلي الآثار واضحة جدا، يعني فبالتالي مش شرط تكون لازم تكون موجود الآثار. بعد مش كل مرة تحصل الآثار موجودة.
This is a brand new cylinder that we bought yesterday. Okay, so you don't see any marks, or not even the regular wear and tear of.
Yeah, see
هذا قبل سلندر.
See how clean this is.
شوف كيف نظيفه ما في أي شيء كثير آثار.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This is one we bumped it open.
هذا استخدام البمب من جهة ثانية، ما كيف الآثار موجودة.
And again, you can clearly see the difference here, a little bit here.
من هناك والجهة الثانية من جهة آثار الخط اللي عليه.
What's on the pointer?
Just take a look also that the indentation is like a die indentation. It's deep and it's not soft.
in your pocket.
Okay.
You see how deep it's here? It's really deep. And it's also, it's not like rounded. It's like a tool mark, a hammer.
Well, you're slamming the head of the key, the top of the key, into the key, the top of the plug. Okay?
Take a look
Yeah,
here.
it's a tool.
Hey, take a look here. You see those marks? Somebody tried to pick open that. Maybe there's something in that lock. Can you see the mark?
Okay.
A key doesn't do those type of marks.
So that's the critical thing that you all need to understand.
One is not supposed to be in that.
That's correct. What would a key not normally do? Because a key is designed to smoothly insert and remove from the lock and turn it with no force, with no friction, no violent movement. That's not the way keys are designed. So what we're doing with keys, with picks, with pick guns, with snap picks, we're doing something that's not normal for that lock.
Most likely, this was Mark trying to put
Yeah, it was.
the big gun in that lock. So the big gun, the tip of the big gun just did all those branches.
And these are really cheap locks, so the material is garbage. So it's soft.
Okay, because you see the
Okay.
tip of the big gun.
Yeah.
Just trying to get it in, and busting in.
Okay. So now let's go. Here, just a minute. I want to show. No, I want to open it. Okay, so this is our control. Take that away. First of all, we've shown the pins, but how do we? Okay, so. I zoomed it out. Okay. So.
No, that's the one that.
Yeah, no. I just want to show. Okay. So this is where you start from a crime scene, and we've got a lock, and you don't know what's in it. So first of all, we have to show you how to disassemble this lock. How many of you guys have disassembled a lock? Nobody. Two. Okay, two. Yeah, well, you don't count. You don't count. The rest of you have never taken a lock apart.
هل فرق أجزاء القفل؟
Yeah, 1, 2, that's it? 3, 4, okay, 5, okay, so a few of you have.
Okay, a lock apart or a cylinder apart? Have you disassembled a cylinder, the components, the pin, the top pin?
قفل السلندر، حد منكم فكها بالكامل بساطن القطع حد فكها؟
You've all done it. Okay. So what's important when you disassemble a lock to evaluate? What's really important?
شو الأشياء المهمة؟
The pins.
Obviously the pins, but you want to take the pins out in order. And you want to put them in what we call a setup tray. So we know the top pin, springs, top pins, bottom pins, and if there's any master pins.
لازم الفك يكون بالترتيب، لازم حاط لما تفك بالكامل البستم او البنزات يعني بعض الناس يقولون
Oh yeah, we do.
والبنزل العلوي والسفلي والعلوي والسبرينج وفي بعض بعضهم يكون في قطع صغار تكون موجوده هيك ترتيب كامل ترتيب كامل اساس تحط على شارع حذاء.
Okay. So a normal plug this is obviously a normal plug. Okay?
هذا الاسطوانه اللي في القفل العاديه.
How are we, first of all, once we get the pins out, so we can determine if the springs have been compressed, and so we can microscopically look at the pins. Okay? We also need to look inside the plug for other marks. We're going to look inside the plug by cutting it. How many of you have endoscope? Yeah, you can, but that's not going to really help you with the marks between the chambers. Yeah, how are you going to look at the marks? When you pick a lock, your pick may touch areas that the key never touches.
يعني لازم تشوف اسطوانة عايزين نساعد عليه زي ما كان ممتاز وتسوي له أثر في
How are you going to get up into
أنت
the
العالم
pieces?
أنت لازم
ما كان تشوف ما يمكن طريقة التوصيل كيف تشوف الأشياء الداخلية.
Because don't forget, when you run a pin, now you can do it from the bottom, but it depends on the keyway. If it's really a difficult keyway, you may not see the top of the keyway. Okay, so we want to cut.
هذا الاسطوانة طريقة أن بقطع الاسطوانة. حد منكم قطع اسطوانة من قبل؟
طريقة فنية ممكن تنقطع من النص.
طيب نفكها ونطلع الاسطوانة وبعدين نقطعها.
We want to cut this plug. Okay, and we want to cut it so we don't destroy any marks. Okay, now, where's my pointer? There. What do we get about 6 pointers?
Why don't buy your own point?
This is okay, so we want to cut it, and we can cut it all the way across, so we have 1, 2, 3 sections, or we can cut it the way this one was cut, so you really end up with 2 sections, so you can look at this side, this side, this side. Okay? Now, you obviously can't cut it this way.
Why?
But the base.
Because there's marks.
The lock is already
Okay?
No, the thing they say for you cannot cut it for the pins, and I was telling him that no, because that's not.
Oh, you take the pins out.
First of all, you take the pins.
Yeah, obviously you take the pins out first.
So this is the lock. This is how the lock that you cut. But the thing is, remember when you're using picks, you try to pick the cylinder so you can have marks on.
Yeah.
التهنيه في حصل آثار، فأنت لما تقطعها دمرت الآثار أصلا. فأنت قطعت بالطريقة هاي، تنقطع بالطريقة هاي.
And there's no way that you can get marks with the key that enters this way.
Yeah, no way. Okay? We're looking for marks that shouldn't be there.
ندور على آثار.
So there should not be any marks on top of the keyway.
Okay? So, when you cut it this way, you're not going to interfere with where the key was, where the pins are, and where the pick goes. All right? Okay. So, then, if we go like this,
Just zoom out and then zoom in.
yeah, we need to look close. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and focus.
Go down, go down. No, go down. Yes, down. Down more. Yes.
Now we can see inside the lock. So look for
That's the back.
that's the back. That's the front.
Should be heavy because it's just gone.
Okay, so we're going to look. You see, with an endoscope, you're going to have a problem seeing all these different areas. Okay? Now, depending on how this lock was picked, and I think this is a control. Okay? So we're not seeing really any marks. We're seeing where. We're not seeing any marks. Okay?
But that's the
manufacturer.
the way they
This is the
broach
way-
those cylinders. So you're
Yeah.
gonna see a straight line.
Yeah.
The way that they make the keyway, they broach it.
نوعيات.
That's right. When these plugs are made, this is soft brass. This is like number 58, 59 brass.
هذا صنعت هذا عبارة عن من النحاس اللين.
What they do is they take a solid piece of brass, round brass,
يأخذون
a plug.
يأخذون صلب نحاس شكل دائري.
They take long rods of brass.
يأخذون سلك كبير طويل من النحاس.
And then they cut it.
يقطعون فيه.
And then they have a broach, which is a very sharp die that they jam into the brass.
بروح عبارة عن نوع من الآلة اللي قص تخترق اللي يسمونه هذا.
It's like a knife, but it's tool steel.
هي عبارة مثل سكيو لكن هي عبارة عن آلة من صلب المعدن.
And so this is pretty normal striations that the tool created.
وهذه آثار طبيعية لحدث الآلة في التصنيع.
Okay, so yeah, and then this is the other half.
وهذا الجزء الثاني منه.
Okay, so again,
the chains where they stop.
Yeah,
they stop here.
Yeah. So now we can, by cutting the plug in thirds.
القطع يسمونه الاسطوانة بالثلث.
We can look at everything.
ممكن نشوف كل شيء.
And it's non-destructive, so we're not creating any marks.
احنا مو مدمرين الآثار فنقدر نشوف الآثار الموجودة.
Okay, so where's the other part of this thing? So I don't lose this. Okay, now let's look at.
Yeah.
What?
No, the one that the
Control. Now, let's look at. Where's my pick? Where's my little pick? Here, let's look. Okay, well, this is snap pick. Do I have one of these?
إن شاء الله بعد الدورة نعطيكم شهادات حرامية.
بس لازم نطبق على الواقع.
هذا يطلع على هذا يطلع على الطاولة الجدار.
إيه. لا الحين أصدق بتابع بس بدوركم أنتم.
I want to see if we see the rate. One of these should. Okay. This we should see. Just bear with us for one. Okay. You see it? Okay. Here, 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 here. Okay. You see the?
if you want, it's is more clear if you go to the, you can see it really clear.
Okay. These marks, a key is not going to make. Okay? This is a rake pit running through this lock. Now we'll show you the pins in a minute, but how would you make those kind of marks? First of all, at an angle. How would a key make those kind of marks?
كيف المفتاح يسوي اثار هاي الاثار؟ عندك هاي الاثار؟
Yeah, these are scratches.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That happened when my rake pick went across the surface in this lock. You tell me how you can make this mark with these marks with a key.
كيف يعني هاي الآثار مع هاي الآثار تمشي بالمفتاح؟
Okay, remember the attacks: bumping, picking, impressioning.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that we can make a mark like this with impression?
يعني في عندك هو راكب عندك طرق الفتح غير طبيعية اللي هي عن طريق البامبينج اللي هو الطرق وعن طريق الصفاشة وعن طريق ضغط المفتاح وسناب بيك. فيقول هذه أي طريقة معنا بتكون؟
Okay, I got a person here that said that, well, he thinks that mark was made by impression.
واحد من الجماعة قال هذه عن طريق الضغط المفتاح.
What do you guys think?
شو رأيكم؟
Why not?
It will become the
Because it's already
opposite side. Not like
Okay.
So it will come the opposite side, like this.
Okay. So that's why we're going with the attacks. You understand the attacks, so you can have an idea of what happened here. This is a mystery. It's a black box. You don't know, but you know the attacks and see, okay, how I can make these marks.
كيف أسوي هاي الآثار؟
With bumping, well, I don't see how we can make this with
You
bumping.
can't make this kind of a mark with bumping because all you've got is do it. This is made by a sharp object.
هذا طبعا هاي الآثار يعني صارت آلة حادة مش يعني في نتوء حادة أثر فيها يعني مادة اسم صلب حاد لكن يسمونه مدبب فبالتالي هذا شو الأجسام مدببة عندكم تستخدمون في
I think it's the key never touches really that part in. With the key, you can just enter here and then it's a tunnel. You just go straight in.
المفتاح العادي هذا
And it's very and it's soft.
Think of a pick tip as a dull saw. Saw. Okay? That's what a pick tip is. It's a dull saw.
عبارة طفاشة عبارة مثل منشار داخل.
So when I pick a lock, I'm really sawing, or one at a time, or all of them, called raking. I'm sawing the pins, but I'm also going to try to saw by accident inside of the lock. I can't help it.
اوكي. بالنسبة للطفاشة لما تدخلها داخل القفل عشان اشتغل فيها انا في الحالة اعملها كعمل المنشارة في طريقة قط سيارات بس تصير لي لازم بعد مو بعد بس على جسم الداخلي للقفل بالسلندر لان هذا شيء مو بايدي فهذا اللي فيلمس الطفاش المعدن اللي فوق على مجرى المفتاح يعمل لي خدوش في المجرى نفسه.
So, and frankly, there's no way a screwdriver could make this either.
ولا مفك بيسوي لها الأثار.
I've been involved in some insurance fraud cases.
أنا يعني كنت أحقق في قضايا شركات التأمين في هذا المجال.
First of all, most people don't know what lock picking is. They see it on television.
معظم الناس ما يعرفون شو هو الفتح بالطفاش بس يشوفون التلفزيون.
So a lot of people will try to fake a burglary.
وفي بعض الناس يحاول يهيئ للشركة إن هذه فتحت بطفاشة.
That the lock was picked. They want the insurance company or the police to think the lock was picked.
يبون يعتقدون إن شركة التأمين والشرطة إن المفتاح فتح بطريقة طفاشة.
So they stick a screwdriver into the front of the lock.
فيدخلون مفك مدخل قبل يحاولون يسوون آثار داخل.
Now you obviously know you're gonna see that as impression marks on the front of the plug.
أنت طبعا هتشوف في البداية آثار داخل القفل من الخارج.
But
if you cut the plug, also you're gonna see
yeah,
this is the front. You're gonna see how deep that screwdriver.
That's correct.
هو أنت لما بعد تقطعه هتشوف مدى عمق المفك وين صار لأي مدى وصل.
Now we're talking about regular tool marks, what you guys do.
الحين نتكلم عن آثار الآلات اللي تخصونها.
Okay, but there's no way
بس لا يمكن
that a screwdriver can make these kind of marks.
إن المفك يسوي هالآثار.
Okay, so because a lot of and in the United States, at least with bumping, there's now it's a real problem for the insurance companies.
الآن موضوع فتح طريق الطرق مشاكل كبيرة لشركات التأمين.
Because normally the insurance companies require evidence of entry.
لأن شركات التأمين تبغى أدلة إن كان دخل بطريقة الجانب اللي دخل فيها ودليل على هذا الدخول.
In order to pay the claim.
على أساس يدفعون التعويضات.
So now with lock bumping, there may not be any evidence of entry.
يعني الحين على موضوع فتح الطرق ما يكون آثار بالدخول.
Now, you also need to understand what I forgot to mention. If you're a real professional and you don't want to leave any marks, especially government agents, when you pick a lock, you may use a Teflon or plastic coated tip on the pick. Now what are you going to do?
هاي مشهورة منه يقول إذا أنتم تبغوا تفتحون الباب بدون ترك أي آثار فاستخدموا مفتاح بلاستيك
Plastic or Teflon.
أو تeflon مادة التeflon to open the by bumping.
Yeah, by picking.
By picking أو بفتح بطريقة طفاشة.
Now, the other thing is, if you're examining a lock to see if it was picked, you also want to look for minute debris, like little pieces of brass, that when the pick digs in to the material, because that's another indication of entry.
اوكي بعد الشغل تفتحون الاسطوانه بالكامل لازم تدورون على برادة النحاس البسيطة جدا لأن هذه لما تسوي بيكينج قاعد تاكل شيء من النحاس.
Okay. Marc said that that mark was made by a great big thick, and I said, well, why not buzz gun?
Yeah, why not a buzz gun? How is that from a pick? Sorry, a pick and not an electric buzz gun?
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. سؤال كان السؤال ما سوعد. ليش هذا يقول من الطفاشة بس ليش ما يكون من الطفاشة الكهربائية أو من المسدس الطفاشة؟ فأخونا جاوب قال لأن هناك لأن الطفاشة الكهربائية حددت آثار كثيرة في الحركة مالتها بس هذا أثر بسيط جدا فهني هذا اسم الطفاشة هتكون.
And anyway, guys, don't take this observation just for one picture. Okay, if you think that's why they say, what if it's a buzz gun? So then you have to think that you have 5 pins that you can check for those marks, and that's why we show you the pin. So it's a series of marks that you're looking for, and then you can create a conclusion. You can have the whole picture of that. I want to show you guys something. Okay.
Who's the other part of this? Set up a couple of these pins. Okay, this lock, this is the same lock that was raked open. Okay? And then I guess we'll take a smoke break. How many of you guys are dying not having a cigarette? What an irony. You're going to die having cigarettes, you're going to die not having cigarettes.
يعني اللي بدخل سيجارة بيموت هو بدخل سيجارة ولا بيموت وما بدخل سيجارة.
That's what we call a conundrum.
choice.
يا جماعة اللي بدخل سيجارة بنسوي له غرامة هنا يا جماعة بس يطلع يرجع فلوس.
بس بنقطع الناحية.
Okay. These I rate pick. You know what I mean. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Excellent. Okay, this is a lock that I rate pick. Okay, so you can see the difference.
Well, let's ask them what is the difference.
Yeah.
Why is not? I think it's a bus gun also because I see the same party. It's well, that's
This is just
yeah, that's a great.
this is the rig. Okay, this is a rake. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, first one. Yeah. Okay. This lock, I rate.
What is rake? It's again putting the thing I'm doing like here.
Okay.
جرب بقوة.
Okay, I'll open one.
اسحب بقوة. يعني
Okay.
اللي هو خشن يعني خشن. شو اسحب شو ده؟
Okay. These are rake picks.
Okay, this is rake.
Here.
Okay, you put the tension, you put the pin. Just do it a couple of times.
هات تسحبه. شو الجسم؟
Okay.
سوي لها الأثر المساكن.
So, I grew up learning how to pick locks one pin at a time like Toby, but then you get lazy.
This one, see? Just by point.
So raking is rapid, multiple pin picking, okay? So what you do is once you really get good at picking, then you can put torque on the plug and go and open the lock. Sometimes you have to pick a lock by raking it and by picking individual pins. You'll set some of the pins at shear line.
Okay.
Sorry, Mark.
I want to show you guys something.
It's Mark, not like vibration mark.
Okay. Okay. I'm going over there. Give me the. Okay. When you rake, you're going with the pick up and down, from the inside to the outside. Okay. You see marks on the top of the pick, right? Correct? Okay. What happened with the buzz gun, remember that the pin, I'm going to pass this one and then this is the bottom of the pin. So with the buzz gun, you're hitting here, so you're making scratches here.
يقول بالنسبة للمسدس طفاشة.
That's what you're seeing on the top.
بتشوف الآثار. This by cutting. What kind of vibration?
But take a look at these lines from here and here.
There is any relation between the outside line and inside?
Sorry?
The outside line.
Yeah.
This comes from
How you make these lines with a buzz gun?
See,
You know?
a buzz
If I
gun,
put a buzz gun, I have to put it here, and how do I make impressions all across the base of
a buzz gun can't make this kind of line without coming across the pin.
Yeah.
Because the buzz gun doesn't go at an angle to the pin. The pick comes, when I'm picking this lock, I'm picking it this way, okay? It's actually sliding across the pin. The buzz gun is actually going all the way at one time.
Yeah, and you don't reach.
It can't.
You can't.
يعني شوف البازجر او يسمونه الكهربائي ما يسوي الاثر هذا كامل لانه عباره عن خط مستقيم يضرب فما يسوي الاثار طولي من البيت من هذه القاعده من فوق من هني لهني ما يسوي الاثر كامل هني كامل هذا عن طريق الطفاش يسوي الاثر عشان يتحرك بالكامل من هني لهني يعطيك الحركه الثابته اما البزقن فالآثار ما تحصل هذا تحصل بس على راس قمة البستن.
The brake pin has a curve, so we start from braking from here to the outside. So start making marks from the top.
منحنى تمسك لك من فوق البستن لين آخر البستن.
The other issue, okay, I can't physically, unless I try to cut into the pin and bind it, I can't exert the force with the tip of a pick against this pin that I can with a pick gun.
Again?
I can't exert as much energy. When I'm raking this, these are scratches, okay? Can you focus in on this? Maybe you can't.
هاي عبارة عن خدوش. ما فيها قوة كاملة مثل الآلة مسوي آثار كبيرة.
Okay. These are scratches, okay? These aren't compression marks.
Okay. هاي خدوش مو آثار ارتطام ضرب قوي.
When you use an electric pick gun or a snap gun,
إذا بتستخدم مسدس طفاشة أو الكهربائي
I'm exerting a lot more force against the area, okay? So that's done by a pick, but it's not deep. Because I can't exert the amount of energy. Okay? Here, and I can't get a pick gun to here. Here, I'm scratching the surface. And the reason that these are around because I'm rotating that pin as I'm picking it.
Okay.
I keep hitting it in a different place.
الآثار اللي موجودة آثار بسيطة لأن عبارة عن طفاشة فنعمل خدوش من فوق لتحته وأنا أثناء عملها البستن يدور معاي.
Okay? Okay, everybody go get a cigarette. Yeah.
The middle line in the head comes in the straight on the outside. No, the main scratch in the head.
That one? Yeah.
Yeah, this comes with the outside line also. Okay, that's mean.
It's really, yeah, but it's not. uniform at all. If you'll notice, this really doesn't correlate very well.
No, but I mean this indicator, the pick comes in one way.
Yeah.
What about the other line here? The left side,
Okay,
This
right
one
side.
or this one?
The thing is, don't think it's a piston that is attached and it moves up and down. It moves up and down, but it also rotates.
It rotates, it spins.
So if you're doing this motion, you're gonna get.
Not the big.
No, the pin, when I'm grabbing it, it's turning.
Because you're trying to move.
And don't forget, there's friction between the
The
pick
pins
and the pin.
is moved.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a break. Okay, thank you.
في آثار عليه على قمة راس البستن. هالآثار ممكن حتى شنو الآثار الموجودة على البستن راس البستن؟ ها؟ لا انسى هذا الوصف. هذا في آثار موجودة. بس أساس الشمس تطلع من ورقة مو واضح.
I think decoration.
ها؟
Well, are we gonna list everything?
قال بتخبروا أي شيء الكلام؟ بس حسب ليش هو عايز يتكلم.
Scratch.
ها؟
Okay, no scratch. Okay, let's go with the process. Let's go scratch.
No scratch.
So, but it has to be something hard to make those indentations, because I think so, like indentations on the.
No, let them tell us. You guys evaluate this. Somebody, you. The physics major.
Excuse me?
No. Yeah.
She's gonna analyze what she is.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the
This line
Okay.
and this line.
Okay. But what's the most relevant markings on this pin?
شو أكثر آثار الواضحة في البستن؟
What's the most obvious?
Center.
Okay. So what would make those marks?
شو سوى شو سبب هالآثار موجود هذا؟
So it's not a boat.
هذا مش طابق يا جماعة. يا جماعة بس صوتية يا جماعة. هو بيكينج بس شنو البيكينج اللي صار فيه؟
Let's take a round. What is this all around? Those marks around.
شو الآثار الدائرية هاي الموجودة عليها؟ ها؟ فابريتر.
Okay. But it's not electric.
مو كهربائي. مو كهربائي. هذا البيكينج.
This is what made the marks.
ليش؟
Okay? Because as this pin rotated around, you can see, because every time you do this, the pin spins, the pin moves, okay?
على كل ضرب من هذا يخلي البستن يتحرك.
Okay?
Okay, and also
Okay. All right.
ناصر بالله يا جماعه رجع مره ثانيه
هو غير السلم البستن بالكامل. You move it before you move it test because you want to explain the flow of the
Where's that? Is it?
Still speak about it.
إذا ممكن حد
صاحب الطلب
يعني عاد حاطين لكن الأماكن ما عندنا حاطين.
نضبط
الطيحات ما تصير
ايه هذا الثاني.
When he's done with this, he's going into break.
طعم صباعك
اكسر وريح اكسر اوكي
زي الحين شو سؤالك؟
اعطيك السؤال والترجمه لي مره واحده. طيب هو الان الاداه اللي استخدمت هي البيستول بيك. طيب الان هنا عندنا شلون حكم اللي هو البيستول؟ طب السيركيليشن هذا اللي حول الهيد بيطلع حتى في البيك العادي.
He asking why you tell me that this bit when you by the gun.
Oh,
and if you use the normal pick, we have the same circulation here.
Not quite.
How deep is this indentation, for example?
This is not
How deep is very deep? Do you think that you can do that with a pin?
No.
Well, no. Even if you can do it, if you run a pig, you're going to run it from here to here. Or,
يمشي معك طول
you know,
من أول بسل لآخر المستل.
مظبوط.
هذا ما يمشي معك، ما في أثاث خطوط هذا ما عدا على الرأس.
because the pin is not flat when they make contact with the key.
Okay. The vibration will similar the pistol pick also?
Yeah. I think with vibration is more violent.
More deep?
Force.
And more violent.
And more deep?
Have you taken a massage? You know, and everything moves. Now with this one is you start, you go up and down. With the vibration, you start shaking everything out of control. So it's more.
So mix lines.
And it's going to
makes lines and it makes lines in everywhere. The things start turning, going up and down. Okay.
Okay.
I want to show you guys something also.
Give me that.
Okay, forensics marks for picking also. That includes raking, single pick. Okay, this is a brand new cylinder. Okay, no marks, no anything. Remember?
هذا السلندر كم سلندر جديد ما في عليه هذا.
So for picking we use a tension wrench and a pick. You know, and some of you are picking right now locks.
اوكي لما تستخدم طفاش تستخدم نوعين اللي هو اللي يدخل داخل مجرى الدفع على اساس عن مساكن والثاني حتى برا على اساس بديره اللي يشيل عليه.
Okay, so we have different options. We can put the tension wrench on right here.
يمكن نحط شد اللي يشد على القفل. هل فيها بهالمكان؟
So we can put the pick on the other side and try to pick the lock. Or the opposite, put the tension wrench on the bottom.
او بتكون فوق يعني عندك خيارين لما تحط هذا الآلة اللي تلف الاسطوانة فوق أو تحت.
Or we can put the tension wrench on both sides.
أو نحط التنشن أو اللي يحطون اللي يشد على الاسطوانة بالجهتين.
These are professional tension wrenches in a government pick kit.
هذه نوع من الآلة اللي تستخدم بجهتين في حق اللف.
And it's adjustable, and they're very thin so that you don't block.
يعني هي ممكن تعدل في المجرى.
Okay. This gives you the maximum access to the pin to move the pick up and down. One of the problems with a normal tension wrench is it goes from here to here or here, so you have very little space between here and here to move the pick. And it also depends on the keyway. This is a really easy keyway. But you start taking a really difficult keyway, you don't have a lot of room for your tension wrench. Okay?
Okay? So we can create forensics mark for the tension wrench, either on top of the bottom of the cylinder or involved. So look for those marks, you know? As I say, this is a brand new cylinder. I'm not going to put too much tension, but it starts making indentations in the cylinder. Okay, can you see that?
يعني شوف عمل لي اثر بسيط الان على الآلة. تشوفون الاثر اليسار؟
I think one right.
هذا الاثر.
Yeah. Right there, I make an indentation. It was brand new. Remember, you're picking your time to put tension, put the pick, scrubbing. Okay? The other one is, let me grab the pick. So here again. Let me get a pick.
After you show that, let's show this one as a paracentric.
Take a picture of that. You see, we're pouring our pick into the lock to try to move the cylinder, the pins. Now, this is the American way. You probably are used to, and actually let's do it the way that you guys are used to, so it doesn't look like, it doesn't make sense to you guys, okay? So sometimes you put your tension wrench here, and start picking. So we know that we can get scratches on the bottom of the keyway. Sometimes you put it on the bottom, and let's try to do it from the top to try to set the pins. This is not part of the cylinder block. This is the cylinder shell. And the motion of going with the pick, making like an anchor point to set the pins, the pick also can make some marks in the plug.
الكلام يقوله الآلة الطفاشة اللي يستخدمها طبعا حيدخلها في ايش؟ في المجرى هني في القطر على اساس يحرك المسافة هذه. الطريقة اللي يمسك فيها البستن الحركة اللي بيحرك فيها الطفاشة فحيكون ايش؟ يحط التنشن هني وهني بس حيضطر ايش؟ يضغط من فوق بالطريقة هاي على اساس يدخل البستن لداخل فبيعمل لي آثار فوق.
Also the tension wrench, but if you put it on the top, and especially if you turn the cylinder and it's one of the corners can just scratch the surface on top of the
حتى الآلة الثانية الدور الأسطوانة داخل جسم القفل أيضا تعمل لي آثار ثانية أخرى فوق، لأن تعمل حتى من فوق.
The scratch that we did with the tension wrench, I think we can even sue right there. Let's see. Right there. One corner getting into the okay. So if we split that lock apart, we're gonna see those marks also. So anywhere where you put it, that tool can create the scratches or marks. Also, you put in your pin in and out, your pin in and out. If you may scratch also from the end to the back, the housing also. So you look everywhere. You look everywhere for glue. There is.
الفرق من الكلام حركة لازم تتخيل تصور حركة الصفاشة اللي يقف مع القفل. الحين قصد معطوكم تسوون بيكينج لما قاعد تشغلون الآن لما تحركون انتم الطفاش الآن في يسمونه في السلندر القفل السلندر اللي عندكم بيكم الآن. القصد من هذا الموضوع انكم تتخيلون الشخص كيف يحرك ايده في القفل لان وين الاثار بتكون لما مثلا الحين وين الاثار بيكون في واجهه القفل انت الان تسوي في ايدك تاخذ فكره واضحه وين الاثار بتكون اذا انت مو متمرس في الموضوع هذا انت شو الاثار الموضوع القديم اللي انا بس ادور اثار في البساتين لا الاثار مش في البساتين الاثار في كل مكان في المجرى في واجهات القفل في يسمونه في سبرينجات الموجوده تحت هذا الاجهادات امور كثيره ممكن تعطيك تصور واضح مو بانك فقط تاخذ على المدرسه القديمه انك لازم فقط تشوف البستن لا هذا حتى اثار البستن اثر شو؟ اثر الطفاشه اثر بامبنج اثر كهرباء كهربائيه اثر ضغط على المفتاح خاصه في باز كواليتي سبرينج الطفاشه فيه بيكون اجهادات مختلفه بين بينها ترى الهاي كواليتي لوك الاجهادات تكون وحده لما السبرينج يعملون هاي طريقه عمل سبرينج بعد ماتيريالز فلما تضغط عليها بالداخل ما فهذه الامور يجب ايش؟ تفحصها فالقصد لما يوريكم الاثار اللي تواجهها لازم تعرفون تفحصون واجهه القفل هل الاثار من كبدأ من طفاشه ولا من ضرب البام ولا شيء قبل ما تدخل ايش تواصيل القفل نفسه
Hold on one second.
From here?
Yeah, we want to switch back and forth.
Okay. No, it's not to do that. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Is there a way we can see both?
Yes, yes. Okay, also with impressioning. With impressioning, you're also going to see compression on the components. So you have to look everywhere. Okay, if you suspect for something,
Okay, we're going to show you that.
no, you have to turn it on and again.
It's not working.
Is the
He enters in the slot.
just do the light test. No, it's just there's a timing on the light. Okay. So we'll wait for the light to come back. Because we'll switch back and forth. Once this comes back up, the light's gotta come back on. We'll go between, I'll bring up some diagrams of where you wanna look for marks. Yeah, see the light's gonna be on too. Okay, now you should be able to push the menu button to switch inputs. Okay, now can we go back between that and work with the computer?
Yeah, it's fine. Yes, you can say. Double layer. Then can we come in?
Yes, that's why I disconnected the other one, so with the auto search, get the other. Okay. Yeah. It was not, I don't know how
I know I'm feeding you a video.
This is computer, move the computer. Okay?
There you go. And how do you zoom it? No, you probably can't zoom it. Okay, so we're gonna, and how do you switch, Master, how do you switch back and forth? Can you switch back and forth between the computer and the microscope or not? No? Okay, so do you guys need the microscope?
No, just a couple of.
Okay. Okay, so very briefly, I'm going to show you a series of diagrams. And this is where's my on the disc set that you all have. And I want to make sure, because we've got extra disc sets. Does everybody have a set of discs for my book? Everybody's got it. Okay. And does everybody have a copy of the medical book that wants it? Because it's a very good history of locks and analysis of high security and conventional locks. Because we don't want to leave any of those. Are those all gone? All the medical books?
There's books more, yes.
Okay. You guys should take those, because otherwise we're going to have to ship them back to America. We don't need to do that. We brought those for you. So, I'll go through a series of diagrams. Where all the red marks are is where you can expect to see. Now this is from picking, this is the tension wrench, okay? This is where you're going to be looking for marks. And this is all in chapters 24 through 28 on the disc, okay?
Yeah.
This is the chapters in the PDF that we made. There's pick guns. Okay, hold on 1 second. There's also a sample report, a forensic report on an analysis, okay, from my friend in Denmark. Just 1 second. We can never get to where we're going here. Lots of material. These are about 50-page chapters. Hold on 1 second. I'm looking for the next diagram.
Well,
هذا الكتاب الإلكتروني الجديد بيكون مكتوب طبعا
the important is that you look on the lock for marks that are not supposed to be there. From what you know, from what you learn about how the lock works, and different methods of attack or bypass the cylinder, you can determine what type of attack was performed to the lock. Okay?
Okay, so what I'm going to do, if I can find it, why don't you guys switch back?
Well,
So we can
actually,
find the next diagram, unless Toby, unless you're
no,
gonna
well,
go.
I would have
Okay.
said, because some people wanted to
Okay.
disassemble locks, some people want to pick locks. So I really want to know how many people in 5 minutes, 10 minutes want to pick open locks or disassemble lock on how to disassemble lock. Or do you rather guys want to split, so we're opening locks, another one disassemble? What do you guys prefer?
انتوا شو تفضلون فكك الاجزاء القفل disassemble locks or picking lock؟ اللي هو فك اجزاء القفل.
فك أجزاء.
Disassemble.
Okay.
Okay.
Just one.
Okay, let's go.
Here, okay.
Let's disassemble a lock.
Here, here's the, okay, here's the diagram on picking. Okay?
مخطط على طفاشة.
So I've gone through and laid this out on the different modes of attack as far as wherever the red marks are is where you can expect to find markings.
تشوفون الآن هاي آثار العلامات الحمراء اللي في البنز بتشوفون هاي مفتوحة وين افترض الآلات موجودة شوف الآثار موجودة على المسافة.
One very important, again, that's why we gave you picks. When you put in the pick, also the pick can hit the back of the cylinder, which the key can normally operate, but you can have some marks also totally different on the back of the cup at the end of the cylinder that are not supposed to be there.
حتى عن طريق الطفاشة تحصلون آثار موجودة على مؤخرة القفل يسمونه، والأثر بيكون آثار هذه غريبة أو يفترض ما تكون هناك. على ما الطفاش توصل شيء، ففي إذا في احتكاك وضرب على الآخر فمعنى هاي الأثر آثار غير طبيعية المفروض ما تكون موجودة.
The key.
Huh?
The key.
Yeah, but the key is brass. The pick is not brass.
اوكي المفتاح نحاس بس الطفاش صلب، هذا صلب مو نحاس.
بيعطي
لا غير عن الشغلات.
No, it can have a scratch.
هذا أنا أختلف. إذا بتجيب
The end of the key is like this.
نحاس مع نحاس غير لما تجيب حديد مع نحاس.
Okay, the tip of the key is like that, right? Because you need a ramp, and then probably at the end of the lock, you're going to have a mark here. But if I'm using a pick, and I'm trying to pick, I'm going to create some marks different from where the tip of the key took.
يكون نهايته بيكون مكان ثابت. الطرام مكان ثابت حتى لو هذا مكان ثابت، بس الطفاشة بيكون بسبب تحركها وما صلبة حبعطيك آثار من جميع الجهات.
Again, analyze the lock. If you see a mark, you say, okay, what is the cost of this mark? Then you can determine, oh, it's the key.
أنت بتقول الأثر هذا شو سبب هذا الأثر؟ عندك المفتاح إيه؟ هذا المفتاح.
Okay.
Same thing with the front of the clock that you saw a marking on the front. Is this a normal insertion of the key or is a bump key?
So this is the snap pit. This is where we expect to see marks, just like we did on the pins, but you would also see them inside the plug, wherever the red is.
هذا بالنسبة للمسدس آلة الطفاشة يفترض وين أثر الآلة بتكون على البساتم. شوف العلامات كم هناك بتكون.
Basically, that tip of the snap, when you enter the snap, can make scratches on the sides of the plug.
هاي الآثار الآلة بتكون على جانب المجرى.
And not only that, here.
You can keep the top
Here.
of the plug.
That's correct, because you're moving it all the way up, and if you don't dissect that plug, you're really going to have difficulty in seeing those.
And then it hits the top of the pin.
Okay. Okay. Here's your vibration pit.
وهذا بالنسبه لل يسموه الطفاشه الكهربائيه.
Now see the ping on vibration, you see this is more like all around the ping because it's so fast. You know, you can do one click with the pick gun, but with the vibration in 1 second you have 60, 80 times hitting the
This is, and then we'll go back to the other. This is a diagram of bumping.
هذا تصور الطرف اللي يسمونه
So
عقد البمرك او الارتطام.
when you actually bump the lock, this is the normal key, the way it works. When the key shoves through, the pins are all separated at shear line.
يعني شوف لما تدفع المفتاح بالطرف بالضربة واحدة شو يصير؟ يصير الارتطام ان هذا كلهم يرتفعون لأعلى بنفس الوقت. فيصير ايش؟ فراغ في خط الفاصل ما بين السلندر وجسم القفل.
Okay, you can switch back to the video.
Okay. No, I think we're okay. Let's go on disassemble lock, guys. Who wanna be here? Anybody who wants to be here? If all of you wanna be here, we can do it. Okay? Yeah, so we can just go around, and actually you guys are gonna do. I'm gonna guide you how to do it. Okay?